Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. My cells are so arrogant that they will evolve on their own. Chapter 61. Who are you? A senior of the Dragon Subduing Martial Arts Center who was sitting cross-legged on a tatami mat stood up and reached out to grab Lee Kunlun. Halfway through the palm of his hand, the high-level executive immediately felt a terrible suffocation and covered his neck with his hands. Woo, ah, how, back, thing. The high-level man knelt on the ground, his face turned into a pig's liver. Several more high-rises stood up. They are at the lowest level of martial master, and even several strong martial artists. Wait a moment. The third master Chow sat on the tatami with a golden sword, glaring furiously, and looked at Lee Kunlun carefully. Immediately, he slowly narrowed his eyes, raised his hand to stop everyone, and then asked, "Are you the one who killed my grandson?" Lee Kunlun kept walking, stepping on the tatami, passing other high-level executives, and walking towards Mr. Chow. "Is it your grandson Chow Tianlong? I killed it. He kills people first, no wonder I shot." Third Master Chow said, and narrowed his eyes even smaller. "Although I don't know how you came to Laozi's martial arts hall from the hunting area outside Zhongcheng. I don't even know what means you used to kill Lao Su's grandson and other martial arts masters. But I understand one thing." The third Master Chow suddenly opened his eyes, his hair and beard stood on end, and he shouted, "You broke into the Longtan tiger's den, and you died horizontally and vertically. Come here, take this beast to Lao Su, chop it into thousands of dollars and feed it to the dog." The many senior members of the Dragon Subduing Martial Arts Hall in the lounge shouted loudly, and one by one, like tigers, they descended the mountain and rushed towards Lee Kunlun. Lee Kunlun stopped and directly sucked all the air from the lounge. Suddenly, all of them immediately felt an unimaginable suffocation. HMPH, what a mythical trick, it doesn't work for me. After a few martial arts experts were used to the suffocation, they snorted coldly and burst into a dragon tiger-like aura. They strode and killed the past. Turtle breathing technique. Lee Kunlun's eyes flashed. The effect of taking away the air is really small for a high-level martial artist in a short period of time. But it doesn't matter, there is no need to kill them at all. Whoa, whoa, whoa. 10 crow metal flying knives, like flying flowers, flickering with cold light, wandering and flickering in the space of the lounge. Those menacing wuzongs covered their necks, and blood couldn't stop flowing down the gaps between their fingers. Goo. The strong wuzong fell to the ground, his eyes widened. They don't even know how they died. Who the hell are you? Third Master Chow was also fooled by Lee Kunlun's methods. He has practiced martial arts for decades, and he has never heard of such miraculous means. "Anyway, you're going to die today." Third Master Chow widened his eyes and shouted violently. The Qi Dan in his body spun wildly, and one after another infuriating Qi surged out like 100 rivers galloping. Roar. Invisibly, behind the third Master Chow, there appeared a phantom of a wild boar with fangs like a machete, poking towards the sky. As the infuriating energy poured in, the boar phantom became more solid, just like the real thing. Wuhun. To be precise, it is half a martial soul. No wonder Chow Sanye is called the half-step wuzong. Because he only condensed half of his martial soul. 10 crow metal flying knives stabbed past, and were immediately blocked by the blue-black boar phantom, like a protective gas wall. "Come on the knife." Third Master Chow stood up, waved his hand to open the screen of the tiger coming down the mountain behind him, and grabbed the Guangdong broadsword hidden behind him. He swung it up violently, poured his infuriating energy into it, and slashed towards Lee Kunlun. In one go, as fast as thunder, the momentum is heavy. Before Guangdong's sword arrived, the tatami in the lounge was split in half. Even the cement floor below the tatami has deep cracks. Lee Kunlun raised his palm and pinched his 2 fingers up. The blade of the menacing Guangdong broadsword was caught between Lee Kunlun's fingers. "Only this power?" Lee Kunlun asked lightly with a relaxed expression on his face. "You wanna die?" Chow Sanye pressed down Guangdong's sword with all his strength, hoping to split Lee Kunlun in half. Even the wild boar martial spirit on Chow Sanye raised his head and roared, providing him with endless brute force. Lee Kunlun stood there, motionless, not even cracking the ground. It stands to reason that Lee Kunlun should have been hit directly from the top to the bottom, but it didn't. "No, you are not an official martial artist, absolutely not." Who the hell are you? A look of horror flashed in Chao Sanya's eyes. He released the big sword with both hands, and stepped back a few steps. I am your enemy. Li Kunlun threw Guangdong's broadsword aside and took one step towards the third master Chao. Don't deceive people too much, subduing the dragon. Surprised and angry, Mr. Chao mobilized Qi Dan with all his strength, and mobilized all his true Qi with all his limbs, ready to use the unique martial arts that dragon-subduing Wuzun once created. PFF sounded. Blood splashes. Before the third master Chao could use his martial skills, Li Kunlun's palm deeply pierced the third master Chao's chest, pinching his heart. Li Kunlun said in Chao Sanya's ear, I'm sorry, in order to prevent you from causing too much damage, I can only kill you in seconds. After saying that, Li Kunlun put another hand on Chao Sanya's shoulder and pushed him back. At the same time as he pulled out the arm that penetrated the chest of the third master Chao, the burly body of the third master Chao fell to the ground with his head raised. Third master Chao opened his eyes and looked at the ceiling, his consciousness gradually dissipated. He still couldn't understand why the official martial artist in the data was so powerful. Killing them is as simple as killing chickens and dogs. Boom. Outside, someone who heard the movement in the lounge slammed open the pure copper door. The apprentices of the dragon-subduing martial arts hall saw the tatami mats that were torn in half, and the corpses that fell on the ground. Even the third master Chao, who was the owner of the pavilion, fell to the ground. The only person standing in the lounge was a mysterious man in combat uniform with his back to them. The owner. Who are you? Why kill the owner and other adults? They asked sharply. Chao Tianlong is killing people in the hunting area, so kill them. The fourth master of Chao hurt his family, so he killed him. From today, the dragon-subduing martial arts hall whose upper beam is not right and lower beam is crooked will be removed from the Zhongcheng base city. Li Kunlun turned his back to them and said in a low, hoarse voice. I'm black and white, right and wrong, and whoever wants to avenge them, you can stand up now, and I will give you a death. If you don't want to take revenge for them, all of them are scattered, and let's go to each other to find a way to survive. The warriors standing at the door of the lounge looked at each other, finally bowed to Li Kunlun's back, and turned to leave. With a wave of Li Kunlun's palm, the flying knife shot out, slashing at the plaque hanging above the lounge. The plaque with the 4 characters, Dragon Subduing Martial Arts Hall, split in half and fell to the ground with a slap. After doing this, Li Kunlun left the Dragon Subduing Martial Arts Hall and flew back to the hunting area quickly. At this time, the younger sister Li Xiaoyu moved all the trophies of the beast's fur, claws, fangs, etc. to her armored pickup truck. As for the 2 armored pickup trucks of the dragon-subduing hunting team, they couldn't take them with them anyway, so they simply left them here. Li Kunlun fell from the sky, and Li Xiaoyu shouted in surprise, "Brother! Didn't you cut the weeds and eradicate the roots? Why did you come back so quickly?" Li Kunlun nodded and said with a smile, "It's just killing a few scumbags, naturally it won't waste much time." 7. Li Xiaoyu could never have imagined that the little scoundrels in her brother's mouth included a half-step Wuzun and other senior officials of the dragon-subduing martial arts hall. It can be said that Li Kunlun has come and gone, and has directly removed the famous dragon-subduing martial arts hall in the base city of Zhongcheng. Cover with a tarp to cover the beast material in the roofless carriage. In a hunting area where there are no rules, restrain yourself entirely by morality. One thought becomes a Buddha, one thought becomes a devil. Therefore, it is the best choice to avoid attracting the coveting of other hunting team warriors and cover the topless carriage. Li Kunlun was in no hurry to bring his sister back to the city. For him, Chao Tianlong was just a small episode. Li Kunlun continued to hone in the hunting area with his sister, hunting beasts. When it was 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Li Kunlun saw that it was not early before driving back. At this time, Li Xiaoyu was already tired and paralyzed. Fold down the passenger seat and lie down to rest. Li Kunlun held the steering wheel, and while driving, he glanced at Li Xiaoyu out of the corner of his eyes and asked, "Xiaoyu, do you blame my brother for being too strict?" "Well, no, brother." Li Xiaoyu shook his head, revealing an innocent and clean smile. "Even without the supervision of my brother, I will practice very hard and try to become stronger." She stretched out a hand and spread out her white and slender fingers. Looking at Li Kunlun, who was driving through the gap of his 5 fingers, he grabbed the air a few times with his palm. I thought I caught up with my brother, I thought I could protect my brother. I didn't expect that my brother was walking too fast. I'm going to chase after me desperately, and I can't even see my back. The condensing gas vortex is the symbol of becoming a martial artist. In royal chi flying, it proves that the other party is at least a martial sect. But just now, Li Kunlun was not only able to fly with air power, but also crushed Old Pan, who was Wuzong, with an extremely relaxed attitude. This means that Li Kunlun's strength is currently at least the level of a military commander. That's a warrior. Why general? One of the 1,000 soldiers. A military general is a general who is like a general in a warrior. It may be 1,000 warriors before a military general is born. Such a master, placed in any base city, is a well-known big man. If you go to any party, you will be treated as a guest. You must know that the huge Zhongcheng base city is only 4 towns and cities. Military generals are only under Wu Zun. Li Xiaoyu felt a sense of urgency and pride. His brother turned out to be a military general. Return to Zhongcheng base city, go to the trading area of the Martial Artist Association, and sell all the materials of the beasts hunted. Among the many materials, the scale skin of the mimic colorful monitor lizard is the best seller. Before the sun went down, Li Kunlun successfully purchased the last material of the beast, the unicorn of the unicorn bear. Okay, call it a day. Li Kunlun took a hose and rinsed the topless carriage. Rinse off the blood and dirt, then open the door. Li Xiaoyu sat in the co-pilot obediently, and said happily, "Brother, we made a lot of money this time." Li Kunlun lit the ignition, stepped on the accelerator, and drove home. Do the math, how much money we made today. Li Xiaoyu took out her mobile phone and started adding the money to her bank card. After counting back and forth several times, Li Xiaoyu was convinced that he really made so much money, and turned around in surprise and hugged Li Kunlun's arm. "Brother, we earned 23 million yuan national currency today." 23 million yuan national currency. Father Li and Li Kunlun worked tirelessly on the defensive barriers for several years, and in total they were only a fraction of this. And Li Kunlun and Li Xiaoyu went out for one day and earned 23 million yuan national currency. If nothing else happened, Father Li would probably earn less than 20 million in his entire life by driving the tower. Li Xiaoyu said, "It's no wonder that many people are vying for it, breaking their heads and wanting to become a warrior. After becoming a warrior, it's really easy to make money. Years. Can you make more money in one day than the average person earns in a lifetime?" Li Kunlun drove with one hand and let his sister hold the other hand, feeling the warmth in Li Xiaoyu's arms. "Xiaoyu, you actually overlooked a very important point." "What?" "The reason why we have harvested so much today is because most of the beast materials come from high-level and intermediate-level beasts. Think about it, if you want to hunt down high-level beasts, you must at least become Wuzong. If you want to hunt down intermediate-level beasts, you must at least be a martial artist. Most of the official warriors can only rely on one hunting team, and then share with the hunting team. How can it be possible to earn so much?" Li Kunlun came slowly. In fact, regarding the income of warriors, the Warrior Forum has published a statistic. The average monthly income of a formal martial artist is around 300,000, and there must be more or less. The average monthly income of a martial artist is around 3 million. Wuzong's average monthly income is around 30 million. Only by becoming a military commander can we achieve wealth freedom. Of course, this freedom of wealth is only relative. Because as the martial artist becomes stronger, the purchased equipment, medicinal pills, etc. will become more expensive. Moreover, it is easy for people to one-sidedly see that martial artists have a lot of income and ignore the dangers of being a martial artist. Any martial artist, even if he is strong enough to be a martial lord or even a martial king, may die in the hunting zone, in the no man's land, and in the forbidden zone of life. Buried in the mouth of a more powerful beast. Therefore, martial artists are taking their lives to earn rich money in the eyes of others. The next day, the dragon subduing martial arts hall was blown up by the news of the whole city. Zhongcheng base city, up to the warriors, down to the common people, all shook. The high level and the owner of the dragon subduing martial arts hall all died in the owner's lounge. The lower-level apprentices and members of the dragon-subduing martial arts hall left the martial arts hall one after another and went their separate ways. For a time, the once famous, dragon-subduing martial arts hall in the base city of Megatron Zhongcheng fell apart like a plate of loose sand. The morning sun of the past has finally completely fallen. The 5 deities of the 4 towns and cities were furious, expressing that they would investigate this matter thoroughly, and that the madman who killed the 3rd Master Chao in the top of the dragon-subduing martial arts hall must be brought to justice and set an example. Baikeng District, Defensive Barriers, Command Center. Bailuo Wuzun, who was wearing a military uniform and cape, clapped his hands and laughed when he saw the information. It's good to die, it's good to die. That 3rd Master Chao has long been unpleasant to the eye. After Chao Qingfeng's death, Dragon-subduing martial art museum began to rot from its roots, corrupting the atmosphere of martial artists. If it wasn't for his identity, and Chao Sanya's half-step Wuzun strength, I would have wanted to kill him. The other soldiers in the headquarters covered their foreheads and said, Major General Liu, you are swearing again. Bailuo Wuzun waved his hand impatiently. I can't change it, I can't change it, I said I can't change it. But, Bailuo Wuzun raised his chin, sat on the commander's chair, tilted his head and whispered, who killed the 3rd Master Chao? Being able to strike cleanly through the heart of a half-step Wuzun, he must be a Wuzun. There is also the incident of the previous power plant fire. According to Nanshan Wuzun's words, it seems that a Wuzun shot and solved the fire. Nanshan Wuzun is naturally one of the 4 town Wuzuns in Zhongcheng Base City, and the Wuzun guards the Nancheng district. Tisk, funny, funny. It's really interesting when such a mysterious Wuzun appeared in the base city of Zhongcheng. Bailuo Wuzun touched his stubble and chin, his eyes flickering. As for the outside world's claim to trace the murderer, it is naturally to appease the hearts of the people. Chao Sanye and the dragon-subduing martial arts hall have long been full of evil. The impression of the 4 major towns and cities of Wuzun on Chao Sanye and the dragon-subduing martial arts hall is not very good. Now, killing Chao Sanye and getting rid of the murderer of the dragon-subduing martial arts hall is most likely a mysterious Wuzun. The 4 major towns and cities Wuzun will not offend a powerful and mysterious new Wuzun for a dead Chao Sanye. Major General Liu, the beast town on the front line, suddenly lost contact. At this time, a correspondent of the headquarters immediately reported to Bailuo Wuzun. Suddenly lost contact, what happened? Bailuo Wuzun frowned, put down the case about the dragon-subduing martial arts hall, and said, strive to continue to contact the ferocious beast town. If you still can't get in touch, immediately send Fomalhaut Special Forces to investigate the situation. Fomalhaut Special Forces, although it has the same name as the Special Forces before the Big Bang. But in fact, the members of the Special Forces after the Great Destruction are all warriors. And each member's realm, the lowest martial arts, more generals, belong to the military's key cultivation, the elite of the elite. At the same time, the beast town. Looking down from a high altitude, the address that originally belonged to the ferocious beast town is now a huge footprint. The first grade of Zhongcheng, the top floor duplex. In a military room entirely made of hard metal. Li Kunlun and Li Xiaoyu were wearing loose training clothes, each with bare feet, standing opposite each other. Because of the case of Zhonglong Martial Arts Hall, the outside world caused ups and downs, and the whole people were shocked. Li Kun, who was the initiator, seemed to have no influence at all, staying at home and preparing to spar with his sister. Li Kunlun was bare-handed, while Li Xiaoyu was holding a dagger. 10 qi condensing pills, you have refined 3 of them, how do you feel? Li Kunlun tightened the waistband with both hands, looked at Li Xiaoyu and asked. The cyclone in the body is more solid, but it has not yet reached the point of flying with imperial air. Li Xiaoyu replied. Well, it's still a bit difficult to quickly break through to the realm of Wuzong with only 10 qi condensing pills. The realm of Wuzong, the realm of masters among warriors, is more about the perception and manipulation of qi, and the reserves of true qi are second. Come here, Li Kunlun waved to Li Xiaoyu. Then I'm here, brother, be careful. Li Xiaoyu snorted, stepping on the thundering 7-step movement technique, and jumped up in an instant. The short sword in his hand was like a pear flower needle in a rainstorm, stabbing at it quickly. On the surface of the dagger, light blue electric arcs sprang up, making a sharp sound like 1,000 birds chirping. The arm is not flat enough. The angle of the rapier is not tricky enough. Need to be faster, harder, stronger. Li Kunlun carried his hands on his back, or turned sideways, or moved half a step, or tilted his head, and with the smallest range, he evaded all Li Xiaoyu's attacks lightly. Li Kunlun is like an airtight wall. No matter how sharp and subtle Li Xiaoyu's moves are, they won't be able to hit Li Kunlun. I want to be faster and stronger. When Li Xiaoyu gritted her teeth, she burst out with a new martial skill she learned, thundering and turning. The infuriating energy in the body is transformed into thunder attributes, flowing through the limbs and bones, and then erupting from the legs. Under the kick, Li Xiaoyu's speed increased in vain, like a lightning flash, and disappeared in place. The next moment, Li Xiaoyu appeared out of thin air and came behind Li Kunlun. Chance. Li Xiaoyu stabbed with a sword. The seemingly defenseless Li Kunlun suddenly turned his head and avoided Li Xiaoyu's sword. Li Kunlun pushed his elbow back and hit Li Xiaoyu, knocking her out. Although offense is the best defense, it doesn't mean there is no defense. Don't defend. Li Kunlun turned around and looked at Li Xiaoyu. Sister, you are too hard to fight like this. Li Xiaoyu stood up again and looked firmly at Li Kunlun. Come again. Seeing that Li Xiaoyu didn't waver, Li Kunlun nodded. Next, I attack, you defend, let me try your defense. 5. Before Li Kunlun finished speaking, the others had disappeared. It appeared again, in front of Li Xiaoyu. Li Xiaoyu was stunned for a moment, and Li Kunlun's finger was between her eyebrows. Unresponsive, come again. Before Li Xiaoyu could react, Li Kunlun knocked out short sword with one hand. The weapon is not clenched, come again. Ignore the precautions, come again. There are too many empty doors in the upper body, come again. After 3 hours, Li Xiaoyu fell to the ground panting, her cheeks flushed, her body dripping with perspiration, and she was about to soak the cotton and linen training clothes. Li Kunlun still stood in the martial arts room, not breathing, not changing his face, not even a trace of sweat on his forehead. Li Xiaoyu gasped and asked, Brother, why? Why? You don't have any movement skills, and you don't have any fingering skills. You look extremely ordinary, and you don't even use a single martial skill. But I'm under your hands, and I can't hold a single move at all. Li Kunlun said with a smile, because my speed is faster, my movements are quicker, concise, and I don't have any fake movements or extravagant behaviors. Does Li Kunlun know martial arts? No way, he is a true layman. But it is precisely because he is a layman that Li Kunlun has a kind of martial arts situation that is close to Dao De Jian. Why your brother is so powerful without practicing martial arts is precisely because he has a speed, strength, and neural responses that far exceed yours. Hearing what Li Xiaoyu said, there was a roar in his mind, and he suddenly opened up. In the bottom of her heart, it was as if a door opened, and she had a deeper understanding of martial arts. Li Kunlun came to Li Xiaoyu, squatted down, and lightly flicked his head on Li Xiaoyu's bright forehead. Let me guess, is my sister thinking that in the future, I can completely throw skill and go after power? Li Xiaoyu covered her forehead in pain and mumbled in a low voice, Brother, how did you know? How could I know? Oh, you are so careful, can I not know? Li Kunlun squatted there and continued to poke his sister's fair forehead. The younger sister rolled on the spot, rolled her body to the other side, curled up, and prevented her brother from poking her on the forehead. Li Kunlun said, I can pursue pure power and speed because I am gifted. In your case, it's better to practice martial arts and pursue the ultimate in skills and qi. Martial arts is because the strength of the human body is limited, so we have to find another way to practice qi and martial arts. By practicing qi and martial arts, you can feed back your physical body and strengthen yourself to a certain extent. Therefore, martial arts are more difficult and more difficult. Li Kunlun is different. His cells can evolve without taking detours, directly making the body stronger and producing more magic. So, these are two different paths. One is to seek the Tao from the outside, and the other is to seek the Tao from the inside. Seek in yourself. When it comes to neural responses, my current neural responses are a bit out of step with my speed. Li Kunlun squatted there, lost in thought. He has also come into contact with animals such as cats, dogs, snakes, praying mantises, etc., and basically his neural response speed is very fast. The neural response of Lee Kunlun has also evolved to a very high level. But now I think, Lee Kunlun's physical fitness is getting stronger and faster. Coupled with a 100-fold increase in speed, air control to eliminate resistance, and acceleration of its own power generation, Lee Kunlun's speed has surged again. Caused Lee Kunlun's neural response, a little bit unable to keep up with the speed of growth. I'm going to exercise my neural responses now. Lee Kunlun raised his eyes to look at his little sister, who was pouting like a little bug, stretching and shrinking in the martial arts arena, squirming forward. Lee Kunlun couldn't help laughing, and asked, Xiao Yu, does the Thunder Martial Arts Hall have an equipment room for training neural responses? Li Xiaoyu, who was surging on the ground, turned her head and nodded. Can you take me there? Li Xiaoyu got up from the ground and said, Okay, brother, when will we go? It's early, just now. Li Kunlun said. He has also been in contact with birds, and after the evolution of cells, he has a very keen insight into the changes in the magnetic field of the planet and the perception of time. It can be said that Li Kunlun can tell what time it is without wearing a watch or looking at his mobile phone. Of course, this ability can't improve the battle, it's just a convenience in life. Wait a minute, I'll change my clothes. Brother, change your clothes too, don't go out wearing an ordinary undershirt all day long. Li Xiaoyu ran to his room and ran out again. Well, I bought it. Li Xiaoyu sent a package that looked quite delicate and high-end to Li Kunlun's arms. What is this? Li Kunlun took a look. Li Xiaoyu smiled and said, if you open it and take a look, you will know. Li Kunlun tore open the package and opened the box to find a light gray striped suit inside. From blazers, to trousers, shirts, belts, shoes, vests, everything is available. Li Xiaoyu showed expectant eyes and said, try it on. When did you buy it? Li Kunlun asked in surprise. This suit should be made to order, and it can't be done well within 10 days and a half months. Therefore, Li Xiaoyu must have secretly went to the suit shop and ordered such a suit before they developed. And the price is not cheap. Li Xiaoyu stuck out her tongue, ran out of the room, stuck her head in and made a face, saying, in order to thank my brother, I have been secretly saving money and then I ordered a set. I remember when I was graduating from junior high school, my brother came here in a white suit, and he looked good, so I always wanted to buy a better suit for my brother. Okay, brother, go and change it. Li Xiaoyu shrank his little head back again. Li Kunlun smiled silently. Holding this suit in his hand, Li Kunlun felt a warm current in his heart. This intention, in the wasteland where the beasts are rampant, is real. Li Kunlun tore off the label, put the suit on, stood in front of the dressing mirror in the cloakroom, and took a picture. A burly, sturdy and handsome young man was reflected in the mirror. People rely on clothes, Buddhas rely on gold clothes, and if you look handsome, you need to dress up. Li Kunlun looked at himself in the mirror, which seemed to be a different person, and couldn't help sighing. Wearing a neat suit and shiny leather shoes, can't be more handsome than the one who wears work clothes and drives a forklift at the defensive barrier. By the way, I didn't go to the Thunder Martial Arts Academy. Why do I look so handsome? Li Kunlun was stunned for a moment. Forget it, take care of him, since it's what my sister wants, then let her be. Li Kunlun smiled slightly, then waited for his sister in the living room. After a while, Li Xiaoyu, who took a shower, washed away the sweat, changed her clothes, and came to the living room. Do I look good? Li Xiaoyu smiled, came to her brother, and turned around. The small skirt immediately bloomed like a flower, revealing the white thighs of the absolute realm. Li Kunlun was blindfolded directly. Double ponytail, JK skirt, white shirt, red bow tie, and over-the-knee socks. Who can stand this? Li Kunlun coughed dryly, his face sank, and asked, Xiaoyu, what kind of clothes are these? Li Xiaoyu said coquettishly, brother, this is called JK, I think it looks good. I've always wanted to wear it before, but I haven't been able to wear it because I have to be an apprentice martial artist. Now that I have finally passed the test, I have become a martial artist, and I have also entered the Thunder Martial Arts Academy. Just let me wear it once. The younger sister grabbed Li Kunlun's arm and acted like a spoiled child. Li Kunlun raised his head and covered his forehead. OMG, who can stand this? A younger sister who is usually youthful and sunny, determined and hardworking, suddenly changed her style. Who can resist such a contrast? Li Kunlun couldn't help but glanced at Li Xiaoyu again, turned his head and said, "Forget it, just wear it, I don't care if my parents scold me." He, thank you brother is the best." Li Xiaoyu pecked Li Kunlun's face, then got up and ran away quickly. Li Kunlun sat on the sofa and was stunned for a long time before he regained his senses. This girl. Li Kunlun shook his head and smiled, got up and walked towards the elevator. Afterwards, Li Kunlun and Li Xiaoyu took the elevator to the basement and then to their garage. The car key was pressed, beep, twice, and an orange supercar turned on its headlights. This supercar was also recently bought. Armored pickup trucks can be driven to hunting areas and loaded with prey. This orange super sports car can be used in Zhongcheng Base City, and it can be used as a grocery shopping cart. Li Xiaoyu was in the co-pilot and Li Kunlun was in the main driver. With a kick of the accelerator, Li Kunlun drove the orange supercar to the Thunder Martial Arts Academy with a pleasant roar. Thunder Martial Arts Museum is located in Xicheng District. It is also an environmental location, not a high-rise building, but like the Warrior Association, there is a gymnasium with a large area. This also shows the extraordinariness and power of the Thunder Martial Arts Hall, which is far from comparable to the previous local snake subduing dragon martial arts hall. Boom! Li Kunlun drove the supercar to the parking lot, and then walked down with his sister. The suit is still too rigid and not flexible enough. Li Kunlun raised his arm, tugged at the collar of his shirt, and said to Li Xiaoyu, "Brother, please bear with it. Let's go, I'll take you to the famous Thunder Martial Arts Museum." Li Xiaoyu naturally took Li Kunlun's arm, dragged him forward, and pointed to the martial arts hall that looked a bit like a lightning bolt. To be able to occupy such a piece of land in a base city where every inch of land is so precious is indeed the prestige of Emperor Thunder Wudi, Li Kunlun said in a low voice. Li Kunlun let his sister pull and walked towards Li Xiaoyu. After entering the Thunder Martial Arts Hall, the number of warriors increased. The group of two brothers and sisters is really dazzling, so that people who pass by will turn back frequently and be amazed. Is that the steel girl Li Xiaoyu just now? Look, she's actually wearing JK, it's so cute. It's unbelievable, the steel girl who never said a word to the opposite gender actually took the initiative to hold a big brother. What big brother? Isn't that guy handsome too? He's so burly, I love him. The suit is stretched to outline the muscle lines, the sun is just right, I am so good. I heard that Li Xiaoyu has a real brother, could it be him? After seeing Li Kunlun and Li Xiaoyu, the apprentices and members of the Thunder Martial Arts Hall began to discuss in a low voice. What a great ear Li Kunlun is. Those whispers, Li Kunlun heard clearly. Why did they call you Iron Maiden? Li Kunlun asked suspiciously. Li Xiaoyu stuck out her little tongue and replied playfully, maybe because of many boys, I have a bad nose here. In addition, I usually cultivate hard, either in cultivation or on the way of cultivation, so they think I am a steel girl. In fact, Li Xiaoyu didn't say anything. In the martial artist competition in the Thunder Martial Arts Hall, Li Xiaoyu's desperate way of attacking but not defending left a deep impression on everyone. Many seed players in the Thunder Martial Arts Academy were defeated by her. Li Xiaoyu is like a dark horse, breaking out of the siege and winning the championship of the martial artist competition in the Thunder Martial Arts Academy. By the way, brother, you have to use the equipment room for training neural responses. Here, follow me. Li Xiaoyu happily took Li Kunlun for a tour, and then led the way in front. The Thunder Martial Arts Museum is very famous, not only because the main museum owner is Lei Hong, the Emperor of Thunder Martial Arts. More importantly, the Thunder Martial Arts Hall also has advanced martial arts and extremely comprehensive equipment. Neural Response Exercise Room. A sealed room with round holes on all four walls, as well as the roof above and the ground under the feet. The four walls and the round holes at the top of the wall will fire high-speed rubber bullets. Even the ground can stab rubber spears. In particular, the walls have the most holes and are densely packed. Because it is a rubber bullet, the speed is definitely not as fast as a real gun, but it also has a speed of 100 meters per second. Moreover, each hole can be fired like a machine gun, 100 per minute. There are as many as 100 holes in one wall. Consider how difficult it must be to hone neural responses here. Even if the members of the Thunder Martial Arts Academy are the best elites selected among the warriors, they can only choose the lowest difficulty in the face of the devil-like neural response training room. Li Xiaoyu came with Li Kunlun. The operator said to Li Xiaoyu, "To open the extreme reaction room, you need E level or above authority, 1 hour, 10 contribution points." "No problem." Li Xiaoyu handed the membership card of the Thunder Martial Arts Hall to the operator and asked her to brush it. Contribution point. E-level permission. Li Kunlun, who was standing beside him, looked suspiciously. Li Xiaoyu answered for him. Contribution points are the same as credits. To exchange martial arts and use certain equipment in the Thunder Martial Arts Hall, you need to contribute points. As for the acquisition of contribution points, there are mainly several ways. One is to contribute to the Thunder Martial Arts Hall, the other is to complete the tasks of the Thunder Martial Arts Hall, and the other is to obtain the glory inside the Thunder Martial Arts Hall. I won the first place in the official martial artist competition of the Thunder Martial Arts Hall last time, so I was awarded 1,000 contribution points. Li Kunlun nodded clearly. As for the authority, the Thunder Martial Arts Hall is divided into 5 levels. Ordinary apprentices have F-level authority, and formal warriors can become junior members, which is E-level authority. I am a martial artist now, and I have been promoted to an intermediate member with D-level authority. If you are promoted to Wuzong, you will be able to become a senior member of the Thunder Martial Arts Academy with C-level authority. The core members must have the strength of Wuzong or above, and make certain contributions to the Thunder Martial Arts Museum, and can obtain B-level authority. As for the A-level authority, it is the level of the branch president, and it needs to make a major contribution to the Thunder Martial Arts Museum. Li Xiaoyu told Li Kunlun the basic structure of the Thunder Martial Arts Museum. The operator returned the membership card to Li Xiaoyu and said, "The extreme reaction chamber has been opened and can be used." Li Xiaoyu smiled and said, "Brother, let's go in." Li Kunlun took off his suit jacket and handed it to Li Xiaoyu, ready to walk in. The operator said in surprise, "Sir, don't you wear body armor? Although it is a rubber bullet, but there are too many bullets, it still hurts to hit the body." Li Kunlun, who climbed the steps, turned his head and smiled, and said, "Even if a real bullet hits me, it would tickle me." "Okay then." The operator shrugged helplessly. She has seen a lot of warriors who pretended to be aggressive at the beginning, and after entering, were hit by hundreds of rubber bullets, screaming and dancing, monkey dance, on the spot. Through the camera in the extreme reaction room, Li Xiaoyu and the operator can see that in the surveillance video, Li Kunlun walked in, closed the door, and then stood in the middle. Start with simple mode. The operator spoke to Li Kunlun in the secret room through the microphone. Li Kunlun nodded. The operator presses the button representing the simple mode. Said to be a simple mode, but also has a certain degree of difficulty. Rubber bullets will be fixed on a wall and fired. And there are only 10 holes, which will randomly fire rubber bullets. Soon, there were 10 random holes in one wall, and, doo-doo-doo, shot rubber bullets at Li Kunlun. Li Kunlun stood there, not moving. I saw his hands quickly grabbed in front of him, leaving behind a string of afterimages. When the wall stopped firing rubber bullets, Li Kunlun spread his hands. Crash! Dozens of rubber bullets fell to the ground. The operator glared and said, "It's pretty awesome." Li Xiaoyu raised his chin proudly. "Of course, my brother is amazing." Another wave of rubber bullets. This time, Li Kunlun grabbed it with one hand, threw the rubber bullet on the ground, and said lightly, "Change to the most difficult difficulty." "The highest difficulty. I'm afraid you can't stand the medium difficulty." The operator switched to medium mode this time. Li Xiaoyu's pretty face showed a dignified look. She tried the mode of medium difficulty at first, but she couldn't hold it for 3 minutes at all. In medium mode, 2 walls will fire rubber bullets. And the holes for firing rubber bullets have increased from 10 to 20. Backquote. Doo-doo-doo-doo. There will be 2 walls on the front, back, left, and right sides, and rubber bullets will be fired randomly. 1 rubber bullet was fired at Li Kunlun. Li Kunlun still didn't move, standing in the same place, his eyes turned up and down, left and right, his 2 hands kept grabbing out, and afterimages were drawn in the air, so close that he couldn't see the body of his palm at all. The operator sat in front of the console, looking at the monitor, dumbfounded. Li Kunlun catches rubber bullets with his bare hands. Because there were too many bullets, Lee Kunlun did not grab all the bullets in his palm. After receiving it, it is directly missed. As a result, there were rubber bullets scattered around Lee Kunlun's feet. Change to a higher difficulty. Lee Kunlun said calmly. Okay, I don't believe it anymore, and high difficulty can't help you. The operator presses the red button. The mode in the extreme reaction chamber has been switched to hard mode. In hard mode, all 4 walls are turned on. 100 holes, randomly firing rubber bullets. Beep beep beep. Do 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 do. In an instant, the extreme reaction chamber became a hail of bullets. The operator and Li Xiaoyu, 2 people with 4 eyes, stared at the monitoring screen. In the picture, 1 rubber bullet was fired from the hole. 4 walls and 100 holes poured down frantically, forming a dense barrage that made the scalp numb. Remember, rubber bullets are fired from holes. That is to say, no one is holding a gun, can't see the action of shooting, and can't make predictions. Zhao Haohao, the reaction time left for the tester is only the gap between when the rubber ball pops out of the chamber and when it hits him. According to Lee Kunlun's position, the distance between him and the 4 walls is 50 meters. With the speed of a rubber bullet of 100 meters per second, Lee Kunlun's reaction time is only 0.5 seconds. 0.5 seconds is already plenty of time for a powerful warrior. But, in just 0.5 seconds, it is extremely terrifying to avoid 100 rubber bullets from all directions. There are not many people in the entire Huge Thunder martial arts hall who can survive for a minute in the extreme reaction chamber in hard mode. Now, Lee Kunlun did it. Lee Kunlun, who was originally standing in the same place and was forbidden to move, disappeared with a "huh." No, to be precise. In the extreme reaction chamber, there are several more Lee Kunluns. It's all about Lee Kunlun's speed too fast, dodging rubber bullets, leaving behind afterimages. Ding, the host avoids rubber bullets, the cell evolves, the neural response increases by 50 points. Ding, the host avoids rubber bullets, cells evolve, and neural responses increase by 50 points. Ding, the host avoids rubber bullets, cells evolve, and neural responses increase by 50 points. Lee Kunlun kept beeping in his head. 10 minutes later. Ding, the host avoids the rubber bullet, the cell evolves, and the ability bullet time is obtained. Bullet time. Lee Kunlun narrowed his eyes slightly, and immediately entered the state of bullet time. In an instant, a weak current flowed from the depths of Lee Kunlun's body, flowing through his limbs and bones. This electric shock-like feeling poured into Lee Kunlun's eyes all the way through the nerve endings all over his body. Lee Kunlun originally had supervision. After all, he has come into contact with cats, dragonflies, and sparrow-tailed mantis shrimp, and his eye cells have evolved many times. Now, when the bullet time is turned on, Lee Kunlun's eyes are like opening the eyes of the sky in an instant. The pupil iris is like the Big Bang of the universe, splendid and colorful, spreading out. In Lee Kunlun's horizon, the flow of time seems to have slowed down many times. All things in the world, the speed of movement, all slow down. The rubber bullets shot from the 4 walls of the extreme reaction chamber had a speed of 100 meters per second. But in Lee Kunlun's eyes, a rubber bullet of 100 meters per second was as slow as a turtle crawling. Twisted strands of golden electric arcs sprang up around Lee Kunlun. He moved. The skin is sandwiched by lightning, strolling in the extreme reaction chamber, dodging rubber bullets blazing in all directions. One after another rubber bullets, dragging the transparent ballistic trajectory, brushed past Lee Kunlun, but they just couldn't hit him. So many rubber bullets, none of them could hit Lee Kunlun. This scene fell into the eyes of the operator outside the extreme reaction room, and she was so shocked that she was speechless. The operator Zhang opened his mouth and turned his head to look at Li Xiaoyu. Li Xiaoyu was equally shocked, her eyes twinkling with adoration. If the simple mode is said, the operator is only surprised, the medium mode is a surprise. When it comes to hard mode, the operator is directly shocked to the point where it cannot be added. Is this the highest difficulty? Continue to adjust the difficulty upwards. In the extreme reaction chamber, the voice of Lee Kunlun came out. Do you still need to tune in? The operator was dumbfounded. She glanced at the black button on the console. That is the highest difficulty that represents the extreme reaction chamber, hell mode. Today, the black buttons are covered in a layer of dust. No one has challenged the hell mode at all since the ultimate reaction chamber was built. Because 99% of people can't even stick to the hard mode. I didn't expect to be able to turn on hell mode today. The operator swallowed a mouthful of saliva and pressed the black button. Hell mode. The 4 walls in the extreme reaction chamber, plus the top of the wall and the ground, are all open. All holes, all open. Beep beep beep, beep beep. Aha, beep. The space of the extreme reaction chamber was almost completely submerged by rubber bullets. Every square inch seems to be rubber bullets, and there is absolutely no room for the testers to move around. But Lee Kunlun in the state of bullet time, even if there are more rubber bullets, for him, there is not much difference. At most, there are more turtles crawling. When there was really no room to move, Lee Kunlun stretched out his finger and moved the rubber bullet slightly off the track. Ding! The host continues to challenge the limit of response, the cell evolves, and the neural response increases by 500 points. Ding! The host continues to challenge the limit of response, the cell evolves, and the neural response increases by 500 points. Ding! The host continues to challenge the limit of reaction, the cell evolves, and the neural response increases by 500 points. Lee Kunlun's cells continue to evolve. Nerve response, keep improving. In the surveillance screen, Lee Kunlun's figure almost disappeared. The operator couldn't sit still, stood up, and stared at the monitor. What about people? Where did the others go? Li Xiaoyu blinked blankly and replied, "Brother's speed is too fast, beyond the limit of human eyes." Soon, the console makes a beep beep sound. Immediately afterwards, with a boom, the extreme reaction chamber turned on a red light. The violently blazing rubber bullets also stopped. There was a thick layer of rubber bullets on the ground, just like the snow in the far north. Why did it stop? Lee Kunlun, who was still in bullet time, found that there were no rubber bullets around. The operator picked up the microphone and said, "Ahem, so, the extreme reaction chamber has run out of rubber bullets. After all, when the firepower is fully on, the rubber bullet reserve in the extreme reaction chamber will not last long. Okay, it doesn't matter, it's enough to cultivate here." Lee Kunlun nodded and left the extreme reaction chamber. Through the practice just now, Lee Kunlun's neural response has reached a bottleneck. This bottleneck is the bottleneck of the extreme reaction chamber, not Lee Kunlun's own bottleneck. "Brother, here it is." Li Xiaoyu put the suit jacket on Lee Kunlun. "Brother, you were too good just now." Li Xiaoyu showed a small look of admiration, and stars twinkled in his eyes. "If you work harder, you can get to where I am." Lee Kunlun put on his suit jacket and touched Li Xiaoyu's head. The operator licked his dry lips, swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and said to Lee Kunlun, "Sir, you are really amazing. After I became the operator of the extreme reaction chamber, I have never seen anyone who could drive to hell mode. Theoretically speaking, if you can persist for 10 minutes on medium difficulty, your movement skills are at the micro level. If it is hell level difficulty, the movement method is estimated to be the pinnacle." Lee Kunlun smiled. He doesn't have any movement skills to speak of, just simple speed and quick nerve reaction. Force speed AA, simple and rude. There are also 2 sayings in ancient martial arts. There is a saying called martial arts in the world, only fast is not broken. Another saying is that 1 force can defeat 10 clubs, and 1 force can overcome 100 skills. Lee Kunlun happens to belong to the hexagonal warrior. Strength, speed, neural response, endurance, defense, etc., have almost all evolved synchronously, reaching a superhuman level. "It's getting late, let's go back." Lee Kunlun and Li Xiaoyu left the extreme reaction room and passed through the hall of the Thunder Martial Arts Hall. You are Lee Kunlun. You stop for me." At this moment, a voice sounded. The other side. A group of Fomalhaut Special Forces took the stealth aircraft newly developed by the military to the Beast Town. Although at the realm of Wuzong, you can fly with air, but after all, the speed is not fast, far less than the Fire Dragon train, let alone the plane. This team of military elites boarded triangular, colorful planes at the top of the defensive barrier. If Lee Kunlun was present, he must be familiar with the materials used for this plane. Because that's really the scales of a mimetic giant lizard. The Falcon stealth aircraft catapulted to take off, and flew high into the sky. The colorful fuselage, with a flash of brilliant phosphorescence on the surface, immediately disappears into the sky and is difficult to find. The Falcon stealth plane, traveling at extreme speed, arrived at the murderer town at the fastest speed. Quote exclamation mark question mark quote quote. The captain of the Fomalhaut Special Forces, through the porthole, revealed a look of horror. The original ferocious beast town no longer exists. In its place is a huge footprint. The railway station, the military garrison base, including a long track, all disappeared. Looking down from a high altitude, this huge footprint is extremely terrifying. Generally speaking, the higher the level of the beast, the bigger the size. Conversely, reasoning, the bigger the beast, the higher the level. Such a large footprint, the body is probably a few hundred meters long. A beast with a body size of several hundred meters is definitely a monarch-level beast. How is it possible that the monarch-level beasts stay in the restricted area of life? Why do they appear near the human survival base? The captain of the Fomalhaut Special Forces, cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and cold hairs on his back, exploded. Captain, look, in the huge footprints, there seems to be a figure. A special soldier in the realm of Wuzong shouted. A figure, it's really a figure, it looks like a teenager. And you haven't dressed yet. In an instant, the commander of the special forces was horrified and hurriedly shouted, "Quick, let me get out of here. Also, notify Bailuo Wuzun immediately." More. At this moment, a harsh and sharp thunder rang out on the ground. Among the huge footprints, an orange-red fiery thunderbolt slashed from the ground to the sky. The boy who originally stood on the huge footprints, wrapped in dazzling orange electricity, grew in size in vain, turning into an incomparably huge giant. The Primate King, Ancient Titans. The Titan Ape Man, who was already 7 or 8 similar to humans, suddenly raised his gibbon-like arm and grabbed the invisible plane in the air. Of course, the plane is still in a perfect mimic mode, but this monarch-level beast obviously smells the breath of humans. A huge palm was thrown over, and the 5 fingers were spread out, just like the Wuji mountain of the Tathagata Buddha. No resistance at all. Facing the combat power of a monarch-level beast, even the special forces of Fomalhaut had only one ending. Pong. The stealth plane exploded, turning into a billowing cloud of black smoke in the sky, and the flames splashed. Roar. This ancient Titan Ape Man beat his chest with both hands, raised his head and roared. Exterminate Homo sapiens. Exterminate Homo sapiens. With a large heat wave was steaming white. The ancient Titan Ape Man became smaller again, looking a bit like a boy with a fur-faced Lei Gongzui. He identified the direction and headed towards Zhongcheng Base City. Thunder Martial Arts Hall. Li Kunlun turned his head to look and found a familiar but unfamiliar face. I always feel like I've seen it somewhere, but my memory is too vague. Maybe I just glanced at it, so I didn't remember it. Wu Zimo strode to the front of Li Kunlun. Do I know you? Li Kunlun lowered his head slightly and looked into Wu Zimo's eyes. He is taller than Wu Zimo and more burly. Wu Zimo laughed angrily and said angrily, the second place in the official martial artist exam. It's number 3. Li Xiaoyu corrected by the side. Wu Zimo glared at Li Xiaoyu and had no choice but to speak. Wu Zimo in 3rd place. Li Kunlun thought back. It seems that there are such a group of people in their batch of official martial artist exams. It stands to reason that with Wu Zimo's achievements, he would not be able to enter the Thunder Martial Arts Hall at all. Coincidentally, his father, the legendary Wuzong Wusheng, broke through to the realm of military generals and joined the Thunder Martial Arts Academy. In this way, Wu Zimo walked through the back door and entered the Thunder Martial Arts Hall smoothly. Wu Zimo said, "I'm a martial artist now, and I want to challenge you." Li Kunlun looked at Wu Zimo with a foolish expression on his face. Martial Master Realm, can you hunt high-level beasts now? Wu Zimo shook his head. Li Kunlun said, I can hunt high-level beasts when I take the official martial artist exam. Why do you challenge me? You. Wu Zimo rolled his eyes, clenched his fists, and said, I don't believe that all the beasts in the official martial artist exam were all hunted and killed by you. You must be cheating in some way. Li Kunlun shook his head. Too lazy to talk nonsense with Wu Zimo, he turned around and left. Sister Li Xiaoyu quickly followed Li Kunlun's footsteps. Wu Zimo shouted from behind. you don't dare to fight, because you are afraid that I will expose you and cheat. I'm a martial artist now, and I can definitely defeat you. Li Kunlun thought for a while and stopped. Xiao Yu, someone just happened to send her to the door to practice hands, you go. Li Kunlun said to Li Xiaoyu. Li Xiaoyu replied, okay, let me meet Wu Zimo for a while. The two brothers and sisters came back. Wu Zimo said proudly, why, do you dare to come back and accept my challenge? Li Kunlun said, you are still far away, your father may not even be able to make a move in my hands. It was my sister Li Xiaoyu who accepted your challenge. Wu Zimo smiled, are you also worthy of comparison with my father? My father Tan Zan Juden is now in the realm of military commanders. What do you compare with my father? When it comes to his father Wu Sheng, Wu Zimo's proud tail is about to rise to the sky. Brother, I want to beat him hard. Li Xiaoyu rolled up the sleeves of his shirt, revealing his fair-skinned arms. Li Kunlun nodded lightly and said, don't beat him to death. Wu Zimo chuckled. See you on the martial arts arena in the Thunder Martial Arts Hall. The three came to the performance field of the Thunder Martial Arts Museum. The news that Wu Zimo was going to duel with Li Xiaoyu also spread throughout the Thunder Martial Arts Hall. I heard the new Wu Zimo is going to challenge the Iron Maiden. Really, let's go and have a look. Wu Zimo, who walks through the back door, can he beat Li Xiaoyu? Hey, that's not necessarily true. You know, Wu Zimo's father is the legendary Wu Zong Wu Sheng. The apprentices and members of the Thunder Martial Arts Academy, you spoke to me, chatted while walking, and arrived at the martial arts field. Wu Zimo boarded the ring, pulled out his saber, and said, let's start. Before he finished speaking, Li Xiaoyu turned with a thunderous sound, disappeared in place in an instant, and came to Wu Zimo. Before waiting for the other party to react, Li Xiaoyu stabbed with a sword finger and pointed it at the position of Wu Zimo's sea of air. Suddenly, the tsunami-like pain instantly drowned Wu Zimo. Ding! Wu Zimo's sword fell to the ground. He covered his abdomen with his hands, arched his body, his face was pale in pain, and he was speechless. Li Xiaoyu's sword finger, although it would not directly abolish Wu Zimo's cultivation, but it was enough to hurt him. A seemingly simple finger, in fact, has a lot of mystery. Li Xiaoyu pointed at the position of the air sea hole, which caused the cyclone that Wu Zimo had just condensed to go out of control. Now, waves of chaotic infuriating energy are scurrying in Wu Zimo's meridians, rampant, causing him to suffer terribly. That's it, I thought how powerful it was. Li Xiaoyu clapped her hands, finished her work, and jumped off the ring. Li Kunlun asked, how is it? Li Xiaoyu giggled and said, I was hit too hard by my brother, and now I have regained some confidence. That's fine, don't be discouraged, don't swell, I'll hit you again later. Ah, bro, don't. No, you can't make a tool if you don't cut it. The two brothers and sisters walked away while chatting. Everyone who came to the martial arts field to watch the duel was dumbfounded. Is this the end? I thought there was a battle between dragons and tigers, but it turned out to be a crushing game. Li Kunlun and Li Xiaoyu walked out of the Thunder Martial Arts Hall just as the sun was setting. Li Xiaoyu looked at the distant sunset. A round of big orange-red sun overlapped with the defensive barriers in the distance, outlining the hardness of the human stalwart project. It is this wall that separates beasts and humans. Created a safe base city for mankind. Crack 1. Suddenly, an orange-red thunderbolt shot up in the direction of Xicheng district, piercing the sky. With the loud and sharp sound of thunder, an incomparably huge giant appeared outside the steel fortress. He was so tall that his shoulders and head were raised above the steel barrier, and behind him was the setting sun. Kill. In an instant, seeing Li Kunlun of the ancient Titan ape man outside the steel barrier, his brain was electrocuted. Hundreds of millions of faint thunder arcs scurried in Li Kunlun's brain, remembering the memory carved deep in his genes. That's a picture from ancient times. Volcanoes erupt, lava rolls, and seas surge. The earth, sky, and ocean are home to all kinds of dinosaurs, reptiles, and weak mammals. However, on this planet, huge dinosaurs are not absolute overlords. There are ape men a few hundred meters tall, comparable to the mountains, walking in the wilderness, sitting on the throne carved by the mountains and rivers. Hundreds of thousands of Homo sapiens ancestors, like slaves, serve the giant apes. These gigantic ape men, tearing the 8-armed Tyrannosaurus with their hands, went into the sea to capture the ocean Tyrannosaurus, swung huge stones, and smashed the 4-winged red dragon in the air. Fragments of broken images quickly flashed through Li Kunlun's mind. Finally, the highest peak on the blue star opened a golden light gate. Originally, the giant ape man climbed to the top of the mountain and obtained the golden gate of light. As a result, the giant ape man fell asleep in a singing and dancing carnival, and was taken first by his servants, the ancestors of Homo sapiens. When the giant ape man woke up, the golden light spurting out from the golden light gate was like an avalanche that covered the sky and covered the earth, drowning everything. The giant ape man roared, "We will not die. You, 737, will eventually remember the fear of being dominated by the king." This is. Li Kunlun had a splitting headache, and was about to organize his thoughts when the ancient giant ape outside the steel barrier raised his head and let out an earth-shattering roar. Roar. The entire Zhongcheng base city was shaken. All human beings have heard such a terrifying sound. The memory of this day has become a nightmare for the people of Zhongcheng base city. The ancient giant ape lifted its big foot and slammed into the door of the steel barrier. Boom! There was a loud noise of landslides and ground fissures, and large air waves erupted. The city gate of the steel barrier was directly broken open. The terrifying white waves of energy swept through all the hot weapons in the passage, and then rushed out from the city exit of the steel barrier. Just the broken pieces scraped by Qi Jin hit the buildings in the inner city, causing a lot of damage and casualties. This blow, the indestructible steel barrier, broke a huge hole. The soldiers stationed nearby, as well as all the hunting team warriors who were going to enter the city, all died, and no one was spared. The city is broken. A man who witnessed the steel barrier being kicked down, lost his eyes and fell to the ground. It's a monarch-level beast. How is it possible? Why is there a sudden appearance of a monarch-level beast? The town city Wuzun in Xicheng district, Shihai Wuzun, was suddenly shocked. At the same time, Bailuo Wuzun, Dongyang Wuzun, Nanshan Wuzun, and the other 3 towns and cities Wuzun were all horrified. Monarch-level beast. They hurriedly stood up from the commander's chair and looked towards the Xicheng district in unison. Quick, sound the alarm. Highest level of alert. Move all the warriors and prepare for the beast tide. Quickly turn on the laser cannon and shoot the beasts immediately. In a hurry, the 4 major towns and cities Wuzun was startled but not confused, and immediately issued one order after another. At this time, Zhongcheng base city. Many people shouted, "Everything is for the king," and then wreaked havoc. Someone set fire to the factory, causing an explosion. Some people rushed into the streets, killing innocent people and causing chaos. There are more internal members of the defensive barrier, temporarily paralyzing the defense system and completely opening the city gate. Outside Zhongcheng, a deafening sound came from the silent hunting area. When the overwhelming beasts heard the roar of the ancient Titan ape man, they madly rushed towards the Zhongcheng base city as if they had received an order. Looking from a distance, under the horizon, the dust waves set off by the fierce beasts rushed over the sky like a tsunami. Beast tide. The giant beast tide broke out. At the defense headquarters of Zhongcheng base city, the operator cried out in shock with a pale face. Calm. In times of crisis, it is even more necessary to remain calm. Bailuo Wuzun wore a military coat, strode forward, and walked outside. You hold on, I and the other 3 towns and cities Wuzun will meet that monarch-level beast for a while. By the way, contact the old man and let him hurry up and save us. Otherwise, hey, the 650,000 people in Zhongcheng, as well as my son, will all be buried with me. Bailuo Wuzun flew to Xicheng district at the fastest speed. At this time, Dongyang Wuzun in Dongcheng district and Nanshan Wuzun in Nanchang district also rushed to the fastest speed. After the ancient Titan ape man kicked open the city gate, the sturdy ape arm swung up, and the huge palm swept the top of the defensive barrier. Bang 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 bang. A gust of wind swept through. All the anti-aircraft guns, rocket platforms, pendant towers, station soldiers, workers and other people and things erected on the defensive barriers were destroyed. Broken parts, broken metal frames, tattered blood and bone, splattered. The ancient Titan ape man let out a ho-ho-ho-ho laughter. What about the monarch-level beasts? Don't be too presumptuous. With a roar, Wu Zun of the West Sea leapt out into the air, holding a sharp sword, slashing in the air. Shihai slashes with a knife. A martial spirit appeared behind Wu Zun of the West Sea, and the stalwart's true energy surged into the knife. With the sword of Shihai Wu Zun, he fell. The bright sword light immediately spread out, turning into a 100-meter sword light, slashing at the ancient Titan ape man. The blade has not yet arrived. The meaning of domineering is about to split the world. This is an S-rank martial skill. The ancient Titan ape man, ho-ho, smiled and slapped it up. The 100-meter knife light collapsed directly. The attack of the ancient Titan ape man, castrated unabated, shot towards the West Sea Wu Zun in the air. From hundreds of rivers to the sea, Wu Zun of the West Sea had a dignified look on his face. His eyes were round, and the martial spirit behind him suddenly solidified, and he was a 100-meter high armored soldier. The blue armored soldiers are actually composed of waves of infuriating energy. A wave of infuriating turbulent waves condensed in front of Wu Zun of the West Sea, forming a giant shield with wave patterns, resisting a blow from the ancient Titan ape man. Bam! The shield shattered, and Wu Zun of the West Sea vomited blood and flew backwards. As strong as Wu Zun, it is not a monarch-level beast that can conquer the enemy with one move. The ancient Titan ape man still had to pursue the victory, and another mighty voice sounded. Turn over the mountain print. Another S-rank martial skill. It is like a magical power in the mythical world, with the power to destroy cities, turn mountains, and overturn the sea. Nanshan Wu Zun killed it. Pinching the seal with one hand, he slammed the ancient Titan ape man. Following his fingerprints, the thick and majestic true chi gathered into a hill in the air and pressed it over. Obviously, Nanshan Wu Zun's mountain turning seal is extremely accomplished. The suppression of the handprint is really like a hill, with green trees and waterfalls flowing on it, which is incredible. The ancient Titan ape man, without the slightest bells and whistles, just punched up. Suddenly, the mountain shattered. Just when Nanshan Wu Zun was in danger, Bailuo Wu Zun arrived. Bei Ming swallowing heaven. Bailuo Wu Zun's military uniform and cloak behind him made a sound of hunting. He stood in the sky, the true energy in his body surged out, and gathered behind him to form the spirit of a huge whale. The 150-meter-long giant whale opened its bloody mouth and took a sharp breath. Suddenly, the overwhelming force of devouring came from Bailuo Wu Zun, trying to suck the ancient Titan ape man into it. The trajectory of the fist of the ancient Titan ape man was sucked and shifted, so he took advantage of the situation and smashed towards Wu Zun Bailuo. The stars have fallen. Bailuo Wu Zun stopped Beiming swallowing heaven, and immediately changed to another martial skill. The giant whale spirit opened its bloody mouth and spit out streaks of golden starlight, like a meteor shower smashing at the ancient Titan ape man. Boom boom boom. The shock of the landslide and the ground fissure. Bailuo Wu Zun's strength is indeed tyrannical, forcing the ancient Titan ape man back a few steps. Friends, I'm late. High in the sky, a figure surrounded by flames rushed over from the east. He is Dongyang Wu Zun. Because he guards Dongcheng district and is the farthest from Xicheng district, he is the last to come. The great sun Tathagata fist. The martial spirit behind this Dongyang Wu Zun is like a golden Buddha, rising slowly. The Buddha Dharma is boundless, and the Buddha's might is vast. The golden Buddha showed his wrath, clenched his hand into a fist, and the swastika burst out of Buddha fire, and punched the ancient Titan ape man with a punch. I'm coming too. Let's all go together. Nanshan Wu Zun and Shihai Wu Zun killed them again. Joined forces with the other two Juncheng Wu Zuns to fight the ancient Titan ape man. When Wu Zun of the four towns and cities resisted the monarch-level beasts. Over the Zhongcheng base city, a harsh alarm sounded. Li Xiaoyu, who was standing in front of the Thunder Martial Arts Hall, shuddered and looked at her brother with a pale face. She witnessed with her own eyes the sight of the ancient Titan ape man breaking through the city gate. The fear of that scene was imprinted in Li Xiaoyu's heart. There is still such a terrifying power in the world, and it is simply not something that human beings can contend with. Compared to such a powerful ancient Titan ape man, he is really too small, like an ant. Li Kunlun held back his headache and smiled at Li Xiaoyu. It's okay, we'll live. There is a brother to protect you. Li Xiaoyu nodded, the fluctuating mood slightly improved. If it is replaced by other people, it is estimated that it has collapsed and fallen into despair. What happened outside? Could it be a monster attacking the city? 5. The warriors in the Thunder Martial Arts Hall ran out one after another. They looked towards the Xicheng district and saw a huge ape shadow in a bloody setting sun, fighting with the four major towns and cities Wuzun. Jun, monarch-level beast. Many people fell to the ground. It's over, we're all over. When the monarch-level vicious beasts attacked, it was the monarch-level monster tide that was launched. 5. It can't be stopped, the defense of the Zhongcheng base city can't be stopped at all. The elites of these Thunder Martial Arts Academy were so vulnerable when faced with difficulties. Li Kunlun shook his head, dragged Li Xiaoyu to the parking lot, and gave Li Xiaoyu the car key. The door opened, and Li Kunlun let Li Xiaoyu sit in the main driver. Li Kunlun said solemnly, "Xiaoyu, the beast has not yet invaded the Zhongcheng base city. Get to your parents and keep them safe." Li Xiaoyu took the car keys and asked hesitantly, "How about you, brother?" Li Kunlun smiled, looked at the ancient Titan ape man standing in the setting sun, and replied, "I'm going to hunt this ancient king. Of course, if I really can't beat him, I will return to you and my parents as soon as possible, and take you to escape." Li Kunlun touched Li Xiaoyu's head. Li Kunlun and Li Xiaoyu said goodbye. Taking a few steps back, Li Kunlun's body collided with lightning. Wind and Thunder Emperor mode. Li Kunlun raised his head, stomped his feet, and his body made a bang, and he rose into the air. At the same time as he left, a huge spider web pit was also left on the parking lot, which shocked other vehicles to sound, "Diddy warning." Quote. Li Xiaoyu saw the light in the air, and it disappeared in an instant, and she also withdrew her gaze. "You go, my parents hand it over to me to protect." Li Xiaoyu's eyes became firm again. After closing the car door and stepping on the accelerator, Li Xiaoyu drove over and hurried to Zhongcheng Yipan. The first selling point of Zhongcheng Yipan was that it had an extremely strong underground safe house. At this time, Li's father and Li's mother, who had quit their jobs, went to the underground safe house under the arrangement of Zhongcheng's first-class butler. As a result, the underground safe house was overcrowded. Those wealthy people pushed and crowded each other, carrying large and small bags of belongings, and drilling into the underground safe house. Li's father and mother, who lived on the top floor, naturally came a step later. "I'll give you 1 billion, you come out, I'll go in." "What is a billion? Is it important to have my life?" "These jewels are all for you, please, let me in." "You people are about to die, why do you bring so much money? Throw the money out, and squeeze a few more people." The underground safe house was full of loud noises. Quote. Mother Li looked at Father Li. Father Li clenched Mother Li's palm and said calmly, "Let's go back, take a look at the sunset, and wait for the children to come back." The second old man actually wanted to call Li Kunlun and Li Xiaoyu for the first time. But they chose not to fight again. Parents worry about their children, but don't want their children to worry about them. Li's father and Li's mother returned home, sat on the sofa, and watched the poignant setting sun through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the entire wall. Love rises from east to west, and romance lasts until death. Li Xiaoyu rushed back immediately. When she was panting and opened the door, she saw the back of the second old man sitting on the sofa. Mom and Dad. Li Xiaoyu was deeply touched. The steel base city is a cage, but not all humans have become trapped beasts. The other side. The speed of Li Kunlun in Wind and Thunder Double Emperor mode has never been faster, even surpassing the vast majority of Wuzun. Nearly half of the defensive barriers in Xicheng district collapsed. The impregnable steel city wall is as fragile as a toy in the eyes of a monarch-level beast. Wuzun of the four major towns is fighting with the ancient Titan ape man, but each and every one is in danger. Nanshan Wuzun was next to him and was mainly responsible for defense. He cultivated the Vajra mantle to the extreme, and was able to bless the Vajra mantle for the other three great martial masters. The West Sea Wuzun, Dongyang Wuzun, and Bailuo Wuzun were responsible for attacking and constantly displayed powerful martial arts. It is a pity that the defense of the ancient titans is too strong. Under the siege of the three martial venerables, there is no way to break the defense. On the contrary, if the ancient Titan ape men casually slapped them, they might be beaten to death. After the three Zhongcheng martial lords attacked, the ancient Titan ape man swung his arms and slapped him again. King Kong Hood, Nanshan Wuzun, who was waiting for an opportunity to defend, immediately urged the Qi-Dan in his body to form a huge golden bell, blocking them in front of them. Dang! A loud bell resounded like a loud sound. The slap of the ancient Titan ape man smashed the golden giant bell into pieces. Nanshan Wuzun opened his mouth and vomited blood, and the shock was not light. But he succeeded in securing time for dodge for Shihai Wuzun, Dongyang Wuzun, and Bailuo Wuzun. It's too bad, we won't be able to survive the arrival of King Wu of Zhenjiang in East China, and we will be wiped out. The 4 towns and cities of Wuzun have a heart, and they continue to sink to the bottom of the valley. Hey, someone is here. At this time, Wuzun Bailuo turned his head to look, and found that a golden thunder flashed in the distance and the breeze lingered in the distance, rushing over at high speed. He is that mysterious Wuzun. Bailuo Wuzun was shocked. The incident of the fire in the power plant, coupled with the case of the subduing dragon martial arts hall, made several real rulers of Zhongcheng-based cities realize that a mysterious Wuzun appeared in Zhongcheng. Of course, everything is just speculation. Unexpectedly, this mysterious Wuzun really appeared. The ancient titans sensed the arrival of Li Kunlun. It instinctively disliked Li Kunlun in its heart. Homo sapiens, die! The ancient titan ape man roared and raised his hand to grab Li Kunlun. Come on, let me try the power of a monarch-level beast. Li Kunlun's eyes burst out with unimaginable brilliance. Even in the face of a monarch-level beast that was more terrifying than a commander-level beast, Li Kunlun was not at all afraid, but rather excited. Very excited. All over the body, 60 trillion cells are beating. He's eager to fight. 1,000-fold increase in power. 1,000-fold increase in defense. 100 times the speed increase. Cell immortality. Megaton punch plus sonic punch plus 1 billion volts. Li Kunlun himself reached his peak and punched the palm of the ancient Titan ape man. Strikingly similar to the ancient Titan ape men, Li Kunlun also uses no martial arts. What he is best at is fists. Be careful, don't fight it hard. Don't want. The face of Wuzun in the 4 major towns changed greatly. This mysterious Wuzun is too savage, right? If you don't use a single martial skill, you just come up against a monarch-level beast head-on. Isn't this an egg hitting a stone? You must know that the human body is much weaker than the beast. Quote, the huge collision set off a violent residual energy and swept the quartet. Wuzun, the 4 nearby towns and cities, raised his hand to resist the strong wind and squinted his eyes. They saw a large surging white air wave, and a golden thunder light erupted. After the confrontation, a figure flew out and fell diagonally at the speed of a cannonball. The wreckage that smashed through the strong steel barriers in Xicheng district slammed into the asphalt road again. Kakaka, Li Kunlun crushed the sturdy asphalt road all the way, plowing a ravine several kilometers long, and then stopped. It's over, this mysterious warrior will be disabled even if he doesn't die. I am afraid that King Wu will not be able to bear the blow of this monarch-level beast, let alone Wuzun. Hey, if he doesn't be so impulsive, if we join forces, we might be able to drag King Wu of Zhenjiang. Bailuo Wuzun and other 4 major towns and cities Wuzun sighed. Wait, look at the palm of this monarch-level beast. Wounds. As the attack power of this mysterious Wuzun so strong, it actually caused huge wounds to the monarch-level beasts. After sighing, Wuzun of the 4 great towns exclaimed in surprise. They looked at each other in disbelief, and an uproar broke out in their hearts. You must know that Wuzun of the 4 major towns just played against the ancient Titan ape man. The ancient Titan ape man had a single attack, but unparalleled speed and amazing defense. The 4 major towns and cities Wuzun used their respective S-rank martial arts, but none of them were able to hurt the fur of the ancient Titan ape man. As a result, this mysterious Wuzun punched up, causing effective damage. Unfortunately, that mysterious Wuzun is probably dying from serious injuries. Nanshan Wuzun shook his head. He rose by practicing horizontal martial arts. Even he can't stand the slap of the ancient Titan ape man, let alone others. On the ground, Li Kunlun got up from the cracked asphalt road and tore off his tattered clothes, revealing his incomparably strong muscles. The muscles on his body are very strong, but not the same as the bodybuilder's muscle mass. Li Kunlun's body is full of power and contains infinite explosive power. It looks like a humanoid dragon. Like an immortal body cast by a sculptor with steel. Hey, it really hurts. Li Kunlun let out a suffocated breath. He was injured more than the ancient Titan ape man because the internal organs of the body were weaker. But Li Kunlun's cells are constantly evolving, increasing the strength of the internal organs and increasing the speed of self-healing. Cells evolve automatically, which means that Li Kunlun will only get stronger with each battle. Coupled with the tardigrade cell immortality, unless Li Kunlun is killed in one blow, it will be very difficult for him to die. This is also the reason why Li Kunlun dared to challenge the monarch-level beast. Boom! Li Kunlun stomped his feet again, and the entire figure rocketed into the air, rushing towards the ancient Titan ape man. He's not dead yet. How is this possible? What martial arts does this Wuzun practice, and why is his physical body so powerful? Wuzun of the Four Towns was stunned. Bei Luo Wuzun shouted, "Let's take action together to support this mysterious Wuzun." Okay, let's do it together. The 100-meter knife light of Wuzun in the West Sea, the mountain-turning seal of Wuzun in Nanshan, the great sun fist of Wuzun in Dongyang, and the fall of Wangxing from Wuzun in the north. Li Kunlun didn't use any martial arts, and punched him directly. Small ants. The ancient titans were angry. It swung its sturdy long arms to drive away Li Kunlun. As for Wuzun's attack from the four major towns, the ancient Titan ape man simply ignored it. Li Kunlun snapped his fingers, the blue flames around him were burning, propelled by hydrogen, and he entered the Three Emperors mode impressively. Yan Emperor, Wind Emperor, Lidi. Li Kunlun's speed surged again. In the process of flying away, only a dazzling rainbow light was left, flying around the ancient Titan ape man. Under the anger and impatience, the ancient Titan ape man began to walk towards the base city of Zhongcheng. Quick, stop it, and go to the Zhongcheng base city where he cannot be allowed to enter. Bei Luo Wuzun's face changed greatly. The ancient Titan ape man stepped forward, his calf smashed through the wreckage of the defensive barriers in Xicheng district, and stepped into the Zhongcheng base city with one foot. Quote, quote, a deafening bang. The base city trembled, and houses and roads were destroyed, leaving a huge footprint. Seeing that the situation was not good, Li Kunlun immediately flew out of the base city. Escape, escape. Wuzun of the Four Towns was stunned. Yeah, he has no responsibilities and obligations, and he stayed to accompany us to die. Going well, this mysterious martial lord has great potential. If he can become a martial king in the future, I hope he can slay the beasts all over the world. Wuzun in the Four Towns did not blame the mysterious Wuzun. Just when they thought Li Kunlun had escaped, a thunderbolt sounded outside the city. In the golden thunder and electric light, an incomparably huge giant ape appeared out of thin air. Another giant ape appeared in the setting sun. The huge black figure, outlined by the orange-red sunset, made everyone even more hopeless and helpless. Originally, a monarch-level beast couldn't handle it. As a result, another monarch-level beast was added. How could this be? Another monarch-level beast appeared. Two monarch-level beasts. Even if King Wu of Zhenjiang arrives, they may not be able to deal with them, right? It seems that we can only give up the Zhongcheng base city. The Four Towns and cities Wuzun looked sad. Among them, some want to leave, but do not want to stay. From a strategic point of view, a town and city Wuzun is more valuable than a city's common people. However, there are hundreds of thousands of human beings in Zhongcheng base city, and there are also Wuzun who do not want to give up and cannot give up. Bei Luo Wuzun wants to defend. If I die today, I will also die in Zhongcheng and be buried with hundreds of thousands of people. Bei Luo Wuzun looked at the newly appeared giant ape, and regarded death as home. Nanshan Wuzun sighed and shook his head. Why, they will surely die, but if we survive, we can save a little battle strength for mankind. Dongyang Wuzun and Shihai Wuzun were also very rational and persuaded Bei Luo Wuzun, but it was useless. Roar. The newly emerged giant ape raised its head and roared, beating the rock-like chest with both hands. The deafening ape cries reverberated over the Zhongcheng base city again. Oops, where are you, brother? Zhongcheng First Class. Li Xiaoyu stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, clenched his fists, and looked nervously at the giant beast figure in the sunset. The new giant ape was naturally Li Kunlun, who had transformed into a giant ape. However, no one knows this secret. Li Kunlun's ape cry immediately attracted the attention of the ancient Titan ape man. The ancient Titan ape man who was walking forward stopped, turned his head and roared at Li Kunlun. King and king do not meet. The ancient Titan ape man sensed a sense of threat in Li Kunlun. Li Kunlun roared again, strode forward, and punched the ancient Titan ape man. The ancient Titan ape man raised his arm and was about to fight back. At this time, the defensive barriers of Xicheng district, which had broken through the huge gap, seemed to come alive. Bang bang bang. Sections of defensive barriers rose from the ground, like two sections of steel belts, slammed up and slammed around the ancient Titan ape man. It is the ability to control metal. Li Kunlun has the upper hand. When the ancient Titan ape man was restrained, Li Kunlun's huge fist slammed into its face. Pong! With a loud noise, the head of the ancient Titan ape man was deflected. With his mouth open, several blood-stained fangs spit out and fell to the ground, smashing several buildings. Hu ho ho! Li Kunlun punched one after another, like a pear blossom in a torrential rain, covering his face to greet the ancient Titan ape man's head. Normally, after Li Kunlun was transformed into a giant ape, his size was too large, and he should not have such a fast speed at all. But Li Kunlun is still performing sonic punches, plus 1,000,000,000 volts and 1,000,000 heavy ton punch, so the speed is still very fast. Boom, boom. The ancient Titan ape man was about to be blinded, and gold stars appeared in both eyes. Its ape arm broke free from the shackles of the steel barrier and attacked Li Kunlun. Seen from a distance, it is two huge giant apes, fighting each other and fighting close to hand. Wu Zun of the 4 major towns was stunned. They did not expect that the newly appeared black-haired giant ape would actually fight this ancient Titan ape man. And looking at the posture, it seems that it must be divided into a life and death situation. Nanshan Wu Zun said with great surprise, play well, play well. They snipe and clams compete, and we fishermen gain. Dongyang Wu Zun said, the king and the king do not meet each other, but when they meet, they will definitely compete. The king and the king do not meet, and there is no room for 2 tigers in one mountain. That's what beasts are like. If they could unite like humans, the humans on the blue star would probably be extinct long ago. When 2 monarch-level beasts meet, they will inevitably fight, and they will be strong and weak. Unless there is another monarch-level beast, no one will obey the monarch-level beast. The appearance of this beast is strange. Bailuo Wuzun frowned as he looked at the black-haired giant ape who was battling the ancient Titan ape man. After the mysterious Wuzun escaped, the black-haired giant ape appeared immediately, which was so strange. Could this mysterious Wuzun have anything to do with the newly emerged giant ape? Maybe it's just a coincidence. Bailuo Wuzun said in a low voice. I have never heard of human beings who can turn into beasts. In addition, the appearance of this ancient Titan ape man is also very strange, as if it appeared out of thin air, very strange. At the same time, the ancient Titan ape man was not recorded in the beast file, indicating that it was a newly born monarch-level beast. Wu Zun of the 4 major towns was not careless. They were still vigilant and kept their spirits high, while guarding the scene while waiting for the arrival of King Wu of Zhenjiang. Actually, Bailuo Wuzun, Nanshan Wuzun, Dongyang Wuzun, Shihai Wuzun, they became more nervous. For fear that the 2 monarch-level beasts who were fighting each other suddenly turned around to deal with them. Originally, the 4 towns and cities Wuzun joined forces, and they were not the opponents of the ancient titans. Now, with the newly appeared giant ape, Wuzun of the 4 major towns and cities, I am afraid that there is no chance to even escape. At the same time, the Dongcheng district, Baikeng district, and Nanchang district of the Zhongcheng base city have tight fronts and difficult defenses. The sudden collapse of the defense system caused many beasts to drive straight in, directly breaking into the base city. The beast tied outside Zhongcheng has reached the level of a beast mountain and a sea of beasts. The large-scale thermal weapons such as anti-aircraft guns and rocket platforms on the steel barriers were all turned on and bombarded the beasts outside the city. A large number of ferocious beasts, one after another, are not afraid of death, and they continue to attack the defense line of Zhongcheng base city. Some high-level beasts and even some large thermal weapons are ineffective and cannot kill them. Zhongcheng base city. Most of the ordinary people hid in underground shelters and evaded. These underground shelters were also built when the Zhongcheng base city was built, taking into account the extraordinary situation of the outbreak of the beast tide and the beast attacking the city. There are still many people who have not been able to hide in the underground shelter, and can only shiver in their houses, praying for God's blessing. Hundreds of thousands of people in the Zhongcheng base city are taking refuge. The remaining warriors, all impulsive, joined the military to resist the invasion of the beasts. Boom, boom, boom. Tanks came out and bombed the beast tide. When a cannonball hit it, ordinary low-level vicious beasts and intermediate-level vicious beasts were blown to pieces, and they couldn't die any longer. There are also many warriors, driving exoskeleton mechas, killing the quartet in the ferocious beasts. The shoulder cannon of the exoskeleton mecha was activated, and rounds of miniature missiles were launched, bursting with fiery flames. This is just a shoulder gun. Most of the exoskeleton mechas are also equipped with large-caliber machine guns similar to Vulcan Gatling, and they are covered with bullet chains, and they are a sudden rush towards the beasts. Ha ha ha, cool. Kill all these flat-haired beasts. The warriors driving the exoskeleton mecha laughed wildly while holding up a large machine gun and shooting frantically. A group of rats flooded the streets and alleys and rushed over. This large rat, which is about the size of a cat, is called the gray-spotted rat. They eat everything, low-level vicious beasts, and have super powerful reproduction. If it is said that there is the largest number of beasts in the world, it is no surprise that it is the gray-spotted rat. A large caliber bullet from a large machine gun hits a gray-spotted rat, and it can blow it up in the middle. But one gray-spotted rat died, and there were thousands of gray-spotted rats. The machine gun of the exoskeleton mech, a burst of fire. The shell of the large caliber bullet, dang dang, fell to the ground. I don't know how many gray-spotted rats were killed, but the rat tide was not uncommon. A large number of gray-spotted rats rushed in, climbed on the exoskeleton mecha, gnawed at the joints of the mecha, and even drilled into the cockpit. In the blink of an eye, the entire exoskeleton mecha was covered with beasts of mice the size of gray cats. Hee hee, even if I die, I have to bring a few more to be buried with him. The warrior sitting in the cockpit pressed the self-destruction button of the exoskeleton mecha. A loud, bang, sound. In the rat-tide pile, there was a fire of billowing smoke. Hundreds of gray-spotted rats were directly blown to pieces, and they couldn't die any longer. Soon, steel-armored rhinos, violent bulls, four-horned giant elephants and other rampaging beasts appeared on the road. Some steel-armored rhinos slammed into it, and even heavy tanks could be overturned. Bang! A violent ape jumped out of the ferocious beasts and jumped over the tank. He clasped his hands together into a fist, and Zhao Haojiao slammed it down, knocking the tank flat. Fierce battles are taking place in the streets and alleys. Sometimes, it is the army and warriors who kill the beasts. Sometimes, the beasts wiped out the warriors and the military. Boom! A four-armed diamond tens of meters high fell from the sky and stepped on the house with 1 foot. It stretched out its big hand, grabbed the crowd fleeing on the street, opened its mouth, and threw the food in. The four-armed Vajra chewed, and then the four hands beat his chest and let out an excited roar. Brute! Elder Joe rushed forward, a spear of Thor pierced through the upper body of the four-armed King Kong. There are elite-level beasts, even command-level beasts. Elite-level beasts, as well as generals among human beings, can check and balance song. But the commander-level vicious beast must be hunted by Wu Zun. Now, Wu Zun of the 4 major towns and cities has been dragged by the ancient Titan ape men, and the commander-level beasts who have broken into the Zhongcheng base city will be unmatched. A ferocious beast like a huge red wool ball is crawling wildly on the road, rampant and domineering. While crawling away, the worms on its body like red wool will keep falling. The dropped red wool worms will automatically find nearby people, use them as hosts, burrow into their noses, parasitize them, and then manipulate the host. This ferocious beast is called parasitic nematode, commander level. Wow! A shrill cry. A shadow even bigger than a fighter jet passed over the Zhongcheng base city. It is the commander-level beast, the Emperor Black Crow. The Emperor's Black Crow opened his mouth and let out a mourning sound, his jet-black wings fluttered, and he shot down dense arrows. This rainstorm-style attack shoots humans and beasts indiscriminately. Beep beep beep. A combat helicopter came over and focused fire on the Emperor Black Crow. The Emperor Black Crow didn't care. The large-caliber bullets hit him, but clusters of lines of fire appeared. Even small missiles can't blow up the Emperor Black Crow. The Emperor Black Crow spread its wings, which were nearly 100 meters wide, and rushed towards the combat helicopter, causing it to crash. There are other commander-level beasts that are destroying the Zhongcheng base city. Buildings, shopping malls, roads, gymnasiums, etc., were all severely damaged. If it goes on like this, there is no need for the ancient Titan ape man to take action, and the huge Zhongcheng base city will be destroyed in the beast tide. Boom! A square cracked. The earth was like the lid of a fish can, lifted up. The commander-level beast Crack Mountain Dragon used its sharp claws to tear the hard reinforced concrete to find an underground shelter. Tens of thousands of people crammed into shelters like canned sardines. When they raised their heads, they happened to see a head that looked like a pangolin, staring at them with jet black eyes. The air stagnates briefly, and then screams. A.B. Help, Mom, I'm scared, woohoo, escape, escape, get out. The people in the underground shelter immediately fell into panic and confusion. They thought it was safe to hide in an underground shelter. In fact, after the beasts breached the city gate and flooded into the base city, there was no safe place. There were also super rich people who left in private fighter jets, but they were torn apart by the commander-level beasts in the sky before they fled far. There are no eggs under the nest. First hunt down the commander-level beasts and rescue the common people. Seeing this, Wu Zun of the four towns and cities had no choice but to put aside the battle between the ancient Titan ape man and Li Kunlun. They must free up their hands to support the military and warriors in the city. Otherwise, before the two monarch-level beasts can decide the outcome, the hundreds of thousands of people in the base city of Zhongcheng will die. The four major towns and cities Wu Zun let out a long roar and slayed the commander-level beasts in the city. At this time, an elite-level vicious beast, the mainland giant python, climbed up to the first grade of Zhongcheng. The sturdy snake body wraps around the tall buildings of the first grade of Zhongcheng, winding upwards. Snake scales and the glass outer wall of Zhongcheng Yipan made a harsh friction sound. As long as the mainland giant python tightened the snake's body slightly, all the glass on the outer wall of Zhongcheng's first grade product burst. The mainland giant python spit out snake letters and came to the top floor. The cold snake eyes, through the glass, saw Li Xiaoyu and Li's father and Li's family. Continental python. 9. Li Xiaoyu's heart skipped a few beats when she saw the continental python suddenly appearing outside the window. This is an elite beast. It's an elite beast. That suffocation, like an invisible big hand, grabbed their hearts. Li Xiaoyu, who was only in the martial arts realm at present, could not possibly be an opponent of an elite-level beast. Li's father and Li's mother saw the huge python head outside the floor-to-ceiling window. They hugged each other in fright and closed their eyes tightly. Father Li said in a trembling voice, "Xiaoyu, run away. Do not. I promised my brother to protect you. You are my parents, how could I escape alone?" Li Xiaoyu stood on the spot and clenched the Thunder Sky Horn sword in his hand. The family just stared at the mainland python outside the window. Hiss. The mainland python spit out a scarlet snake letter, revealing its white fangs, ready to bite through the floor. Li Xiaoyu swung the thundering sky horn sword horizontally, mobilizing the infuriating vortex in his body, and attacking with all his strength at any time. Brush. In the extreme distance, an afterimage flashed over and slashed the 7-inch position of the mainland giant python. It was a huge metal plate. Li Xiaoyu didn't know where the metal plate came from, but it didn't affect her decision. Without hesitation, Li Xiaoyu smashed through the glass, clenched the Thunder Sky Horn sword in both hands, jumped onto the snake head of the mainland giant python, and stabbed it fiercely. At the same time, she burst out the true energy of the thunder attribute, and a blue lightning bolt penetrated the head of the mainland giant python along the Thunder Sky Horn sword. The mainland giant python struggled a few times, and the sturdy snake body smashed layers of window glass, and then released it all at once, and the snake corpse fell. Li Xiaoyu pulled out the Thunder Heavenly Horn sword, jumped up, flew over the eaves, and ran back to his home. "Xiaoyu, are you all right?" Mother Li nervously stepped forward and held Li Xiaoyu's hand. Just now, Li Xiaoyu smashed the glass in vain and jumped out of the building, which really startled them. "I'm fine." Li Xiaoyu shook his head, a look of doubt appeared in his eyes. Where did the huge metal plate come from? If it wasn't for that huge metal plate slashing 7 inches of the mainland python, she would not be able to kill the mainland python. The only result was that she and Li's father and Li's mother were buried in the belly of a snake. Shicheng District, near the defensive barriers. The two monarch-level behemoths are still fighting. Just now, Li Kunlun controlled a metal plate and slashed at the mainland giant python, causing a few breaths of distraction. The ancient Titan ape man took the opportunity to break free and in turn knocked down Li Kunlun. A large ape palm held the head of the black-haired giant ape and smashed it against the defensive barrier that did not collapse. Boom! The indestructible defensive barrier was as fragile as paper under the battle of the two giant beasts. Li Kunlun's head was embedded in the steel barrier, the outer layer of the steel barrier, and at the same time a huge bulge protruded. Roar! The black-haired giant ape roared, and the steel barriers on both sides protruded huge spikes, poking at it. At the same time, Li Kunlun rubbed a giant ape palm out of a giant ape, and slammed it against the abdomen of the ancient Titan ape man. The huge wind jade swelled in an instant, then disappeared, and cut off a layer of flesh on the abdomen of the ancient Titan ape man. Li Kunlun kicked up and kicked the ancient Titan ape man away. The ancient Titan ape man roared in pain and wanted to counterattack Li Kunlun, but was bound by the protruding steel barriers, keeping his hands and feet away from the ground. These steel barriers that become chains cannot trap the ancient Titan apes for long. But even one breath was enough for Li Kunlun. 6 trillion cells in Li Kunlun's body burst with electricity, concentrating on one of his arms. Li Kunlun opened his palm, held the face of the ancient Titan ape man with 5 fingers, and dragged him to slam into the defensive barrier. Boom! With a loud noise, a huge human-shaped hole was knocked out of the defensive barrier. Li Kunlun's arm flashed with thunder and radiance, still holding the face of the ancient Titan ape man, slammed it to the ground, and then pushed it towards the barren hunting area. The ancient Titan ape man continued to struggle, beating Li Kunlun with both fists, but no matter what, he could not break free. Die! 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 Li Kunlun raised a big foot, stepped on the ancient Titan ape man, and slammed its head with a punch. Boom boom boom. The land was beaten to a boil. The ground trembled constantly, and the pits sank one by one. The ancient Titan ape man was finally suppressed, but still could not kill it. Monarch-level beasts are too difficult to kill. In particular, Li Kunlun is only a 5th-order life form, and it is reasonable to say that he is not the opponent of a monarch-level beast. However, this ancient Titan ape man is not an adult, and he can still fight. The ancient Titan ape man was beaten by the ferocious Li Kunlun, his jaw was dislocated, and his mouth opened weakly. Last blow. Li Kunlun forcibly stuffed the polar yang fire bead condensed from his previous power plant fire into the mouth of the ancient Titan ape man, and then closed the lower jaw and upper jaw of the ancient Titan ape man with both hands. The ancient Titan ape man seemed to have sensed some danger and struggled desperately. The ground was as crisp as floating, shattering inch by inch, opening huge cracks and extending out. Li Kunlun tightly closed its mouth with both hands, and stepped on the ancient Titan ape man with the soles of his feet. Detonate! Li Kunlun shouted fiercely. Chapter 71. Boom! The polar yang fire bead in the mouth of the ancient Titan ape man suddenly became active from a stable state, emitting a blazing white light. In a short time, the solid-state polar yang fire bead shot out thousands of firelights, exploded with a bang, and expanded into a fireball like an artificial sun. The terrifying high temperature instantly evaporated the tongues, brains, and eyes of the ancient titans. Li Kunlun's hands did not leave the ancient Titan ape man, and he still tightly closed its upper and lower jaws. For fear of the power of the extreme yang fire orb, it would not be able to blow up this monarch-level beast. Most of the flames were suppressed in the cranial cavity. Only the residual energy of the explosion was sprayed out through the eyes, nose, ears and other places of the ancient Titan ape man. Li Kunlun's hands were numb, and he released the upper and lower jaws of the ancient Titan ape man. At this time, the skull of the ancient Titan ape man was burnt to black, and there were only flaming holes in the eyes, nose and other places. Through the hole, it can be seen that the brain of the ancient Titan ape man is empty, and only the skull is left after being burned by the polar yang fire bead. The skull of this monarch-level beast is really hard. The brains have evaporated, and the bones are still there. Li Kunlun estimated that the power of the instant explosion of the polar sun fire bead should be similar to that of a nuclear bomb. If it weren't for the fact that he was pressing the upper and lower jaws of the ancient Titan ape man, the extreme sun fireball would have exploded completely. It would have formed a huge fireball with a diameter of 1 kilometer on the ground, and then a mushroom cloud would have risen into the sky. Now, the extreme yang fire orb completely exploded in the skull of the ancient Titan ape man, and all the power was endured by the brain of the ancient Titan ape man. Ding! The host comes into contact with the ancient Titan ape man, the cells evolve, and the physical fitness is improved tenfold. Ding! The host contacts the ancient Titan ape man, the cell evolves, and the ability, the power of the king, is obtained. Hearing the prompt sound in his head, Li Kunlun stepped on the corpse of the ancient Titan ape man and raised his head and screamed. The might of the king is activated. All the beasts in the base city of Zhongcheng heard Li Kunlun's voice and began to retreat. The ferocious beast that had come before, now recedes like a tide. On the streets, on the defensive barriers, and outside the base city, thousands of beasts actually retreated. The few commander-level beasts that were looting in the Zhongcheng base city hesitated for a while, but did not leave. Li Kunlun is not an ancient Titan ape man, and it is impossible to command a commander-level beast just by virtue of the prestige of a king. In addition, finally broke into the human survival base. Tasted the delicacy of human beings. How could the commander-level beasts who have eaten the sweets retreat immediately? These guys don't eat and drink toast. A cold light flashed in Li Kunlun's eyes, ready to go back to the Zhongcheng base city to hunt those commander-level beasts. Suddenly, Li Kunlun was horrified and turned his head to look in a certain direction in the no man's land. A blazing escaping light came flying at an extremely fast speed. The overwhelming aura that I am the only one, as if the clouds between the heavens and the earth, are all going backwards and tilting towards him. King Wu of Zhenjiang is here. An unprecedented sense of crisis erupted in Li Kunlun's heart. It was unimaginably powerful. It is estimated that the Zhenjiang martial king who came here is probably the strongest among the martial kings, who has definitely killed monarch-level beasts. Crack! A flash of lightning flashed. Li Kunlun cancelled the state of giant ape, and turned into a human again. He snapped his fingers, and a light blue flame ignited out of thin air, wrapping his body and rushing into the sky. Immediately afterwards, he controlled the wind and qi, and the 60 trillion cells in his body generated electricity, allowing Li Kunlun to enter the Three Emperors mode, and his flying speed increased in vain. Li Kunlun flew to Zhongcheng base city first. His qi was still locked by the Wu king of Zhenjiang who came over, like a needle on his back. Is this martial king of Zhenjiang treating me as a beast? Li Kunlun frowned, turned around, and flew toward the no man's land. It is useless to return to the base city of Zhongcheng, and the ability to transform into a giant ape is indeed unclear. Explanation is too much, involving the secrets of the system, but not good. Then go into the no man's land and get rid of him. Li Kunlun has a plan in mind. Get rid of this Zhenjiang martial king, release his locked qi machine, and then circle back to the Zhongcheng base city without knowing it. The king of Zhenjiang in the rear flew over the ancient Titan ape man, paused for a moment, and immediately chased after Li Kunlun. Definitely followed. Li Kunlun picked up the pace again. Can it get faster? I can't catch up with you if you don't believe me. Compared to the speed of this old man, you are still a little more tender. The king of Zhenjiang, who was chasing after him, surged in speed. Li Kunlun was helpless, and the Three Emperors mode broke out in an all-round way, and the whole figure was like a blue shooting star, piercing the sky. Li Kunlun in Li Sandy mode is surrounded by a layer of blazing light blue flames. Around the pale blue flame, golden lightning arcs danced. In addition, there is a cyan breeze around, but compared to the blue flame and golden lightning, it is not so conspicuous. Li Kunlun, whose speed broke out again, opened a little distance from King Wu of Zhenjiang. They were one after the other, chasing after each other, and the scenery of the earth quickly regressed. Thousands of miles away, as if a few breaths passed by, the speed is too fast. With their aura, even the flying beasts in the air would not dare to approach. I want to run, but there is no way. Bei Ming swallows heaven's art, and travels thousands of miles. Behind this Zhenjiang martial king, the martial spirit of a golden-winged Dapeng appeared unexpectedly, with a dazzling golden light. Under the infusion of infuriating qi like the majestic sea, the golden-winged Dapeng's martial spirit continued to solidify, becoming like a substance. Immediately afterwards, the golden-winged Dapeng martial spirit suddenly fluttered its wings, the wind whistled, and rose on the wind, making the speed of the Zhenjiang martial king double again. Point 0. Even so, he could only hold on to Li Kunlun's tail. I can't catch up with Li Kunlun, but I won't lose it either. King Wu of Zhenjiang was dumbfounded. The speed he was proud of, he had already displayed it at full speed, but he still couldn't catch up with Li Kunlun. What kind of human-shaped beast is this? How can it be so fast? King Wu of Zhenjiang thought with shock and suspicion. No, you will be exhausted if you are tired. The Zhenjiang martial king has not given up. Thousands of miles in an instant, the rivers and mountains flew back. Li Kunlun does not know how many mountains and rivers he has crossed. Abandoned cities can only be glimpsed. Even so, the Zhenjiang martial king, who did not know where he came from, still pursued him perseveringly. Li Kunlun was speechless. Is it easy for him? Inexplicably, he was chased and killed by an outrageously strong Zhenjiang Wawang. Fortunately, Li Kunlun was physically strong enough to not be consumed by King Wu of Zhenjiang. Where did I fly to? Li Kunlun looked at the unfamiliar environment suspiciously, not knowing which no man's land he was in. He had never been too far from the Zhongcheng base city before. The farthest place was an abandoned Ningxiang. Now, without a doubt, away from the city, into the mountains. Wanshan is steep and lush. Clouds lock the top of the mountain, and the mountains rise. At this time, Li Kunlun noticed that King Wu of Zhenjiang, who was chasing after him, had stopped. Yo, why didn't you chase? Li Kunlun glanced back. King Wu of Zhenjiang not only stopped chasing, but turned around and flew away without any hesitation. Chi. Is there danger here, or is it hard to play? Li Kunlun frowned, and his brain quickly analyzed. Because it does not rule out the possibility of this Zhenjiang Wu king playing tricks. Looking around, there are mountains and peaks. The mountains stretch, the ridges are surrounded by clouds and smoke, and the valleys have fog and poisonous miasma deposits. The whole world seems to be foggy and the moisture is heavy. The landform here is very primitive, like the forest mountains in ancient times. Many vegetations are extremely lush, the ancient wood wolf forest, and the vines are as thick as wild dragons. From time to time, a roar of a bear and a tiger roared, shaking the mountains and forests, causing a large number of giant birds to fly up. If you look closely again, you can find that those giant birds are not birds at all, but similar to the long-billed pterosaurs in ancient times. As for the depths of the forest, there was a huge and inexplicable vibration that spread out, making it horrifying. It really doesn't look like a safe place. Li Kunlun pondered for a moment, and without hesitation, flew out immediately. However, the direction of King Wu of Zhenjiang is slightly different, and the angle is deviated, otherwise he will be thrown into the net. Li Kunlun flew out, and King Wu of Zhenjiang also changed the flight path and flew in parallel in his direction. Li Kunlun frowned, changing the angle several times. As a result, this Zhenjiang Wawang changed direction. 740. Now leading to the strange scene, Li Kunlun fled before, and King Wu of Zhenjiang chased after him. Now, it seems that King Wu of Zhenjiang is fleeing again, and Li Kunlun is chasing after him. This old man. Li Kunlun gritted his teeth in anger. King Wu of Zhenjiang was definitely intentional. Okay, I'll break into this Longtan tiger den and see if you dare to come in. Li Kunlun's newborn calf was not afraid of tigers, so he turned around and flew into the depths of this primitive mountain forest. This human-shaped beast won't come out. Seeing this, King Wu of Zhenjiang stopped flying and stood up in the sky, looking at Li Kunlun's increasingly distant figure, hesitating for a moment. Forget it, this restricted area of a euro life is that guy's territory. This old man wants to live a few more years, so I don't want to chase after him. He is a fierce beast and can surrender to that guy. But I'm a human, and I'm still a martial king, and I will definitely be killed as a thorn in the flesh. King Wu of Zhenjiang hesitated again and again, and after thinking for a while, turned around and flew towards Zhongcheng. After half a day, King Wu of Zhenjiang returned to the base city of Zhongcheng. Zhongcheng, which had just been attacked by a horrific beast tide, was in a state of dilapidation and was in a state of ruin. Broken steel barriers, collapsed buildings, broken streets, and dead bodies everywhere. The surviving people came out of their houses and underground shelters, saw their homes that had been invaded, and fell into dead silence. Some people lost their souls, some people cried loudly, and some people knelt down in despair, pounding their fists on the ground. Some warriors with strong hearts are sweeping the battlefield. It's time to fill up the knife for the beast, the anatomy of the anatomy. The military mobilized the remaining troops, quickly plugged the gaps in the steel barriers, and established a temporary defense line to prevent the retreating beast tide from counterattacking. The defensive barrier of the Xicheng district has the largest gap torn open. The huge Zhongcheng base city is surrounded by a steel city wall and stands on the ground. People standing on the road, looking up, can only see the towering steel walls. Now, because of the battle between Li Kunlun and the ancient Titan ape man, the steel barriers in Xicheng district have collapsed for 4 or 5 kilometers. The people of Xicheng district can directly see the hunting area that they could not see before. Considering the danger of Xicheng district, the 4 major towns and cities of Wuzun still divided to and guarded them in the west. King Wu of Zhenjiang, who was chasing Li Kunlun, flew back and landed slowly. Wu Zun of the West Sea stepped forward and saluted, and said respectfully, "I have seen the king of Beiming." It turned out that this Zhenjiang martial king was the Beiming martial king who ranked 3rd in the Martial Artist Forum. Being able to rank 3rd among the many martial kings in the Yangyang Flame Kingdom shows how powerful this Beiming martial king is. Even so, he still failed to catch up with Li Kunlun. What about the unfilial son, old man? King Beiming Wu was wearing a black robe-style combat uniform, with white hair, his back was slightly hunched, and he glanced around. When Bailuo Wuzun saw this, he shouted in a broken gong, "Old man, come back later, I will return to the west." Calling yourself lousy in front of this old man, are you tired of living, or are you tired of living? Beiming Wuwang went up to grab Bailuo Wuzun's ear. Bailuo Wuzun immediately confessed his counsel and begged for mercy. Don't, there are so many people outside, Daddy give lousy, give me some face." 5. Humph, how many times have you said it? Please don't swear, don't listen. Next time, this old man will definitely kill you. King Beiming snorted coldly and let go of his palm. With his hands on his back, his eyes were cold, and he asked in a deep voice, "Who can tell this old man what is going on this time?" Shihai Wuzun glanced at Bailuo Wuzun, coughed dryly, stepped forward and said, "Master Wu, let me explain." Shihai Wuzun asked him to take a tablet. Click on a surveillance video. In the picture, it is the bird's eye view of the entrance of the defensive barriers in Xicheng district. A long line of hunting warriors is lining up to enter the city. Among the crowd, a teenager in an ill-fitting combat uniform looked up at the camera. Immediately, orange-yellow electric light, accompanied by a piercing thunder, erupted from the boy's body. The video screen is full of dazzling light, and then, A squared, a few times, and it is over. This is the last picture taken before the camera broke. It just recorded the scene before the monarch-level beast and the giant ape man appeared. Shihai Wuzun explained. This giant ape man became a human. King Wu of Zhenjiang frowned. The human-shaped beast he chased before turned from a black-haired giant ape into a human-like shape and then escaped and flew away. Now there is another one who has changed from human form to giant ape man. Could it be that the beasts have begun to cultivate into essences? Wouldn't it be bad if the beast could transform into a human form, infiltrate the human survival base city, and start massacres? Shihai Wuzun added. Accurately speaking, it is not that humans have changed, but humanoid creatures have become. Lord Wu, look, Shihai Wuzun played the surveillance video again. When the young man looked up at the camera on the screen, Wuzun Shihai pressed pause, and then took a screenshot to enlarge it. Through the slightly blurred picture, you can see that the boy has sharp-nosed monkey cheeks, as if he has not fully evolved. Beiming Wuwang glanced at it and nodded. It's not really human, it's at most human subfamily 0. Wu Zun of the West Sea replied, "This beast may be an ape man in the ancient times, but strictly speaking, it is not a Homo sapiens." Ancient ape man, Homo sapiens. I always feel that all of these, in the threads, vaguely reveal a bigger secret. Beiming Martial King looked solemn and said, "This matter, the old man will report it to the top, you don't have to worry about it. In addition, the old man has not punished you for dereliction of duty." Baiming Wuwang's expression sank. If this giant ape man broke through the West City and couldn't stop it, then what happened to the other 3 city gates? This. Lousy. I still have something to do, so I'll go first. Bailuo Wuzun wanted to run away. King Baiming Wu immediately stopped him. Come back, explain it to the old man. 5. Bailuo Wuzun's face was ugly, and he replied in embarrassment, we hunted and killed a commander-level beast in the city, a dead nematode. What? Dead nematodes? King Baiming Wu suddenly grabbed the collar of Bailuo Wuzun, blew his beard and stared, and said angrily, you mean, before this, Zhongcheng base city was mixed with parasites of dead nematodes? Bailuo Wuzun turned his head to look at other places, and said in a low voice, 80%, that's it. King Wu of Baiming was furious. The reason why the hunting team is strictly inspected in and out of the city is that they are afraid that there will be dead nematodes parasitic warriors and mixed into the survival base city. As a result, you are still negligent and make a big mistake. Bailuo Wuzun's voice was getting smaller and smaller. Dad, it may be caused by a formal martial artist exam. He sorted out the cause and effect of Li Kunlun's official martial artist exam and told it to the king of Baiming. He was so angry that King Wu of Baiming almost took a knife and chopped Wuzun of Bailuo into 8 pieces, severing the father-son relationship. But said the other side. Li Kunlun, who was forced into the forbidden area of a Euro life by King Baiming Wu, directly entered the perfect mimicry and carefully traversed the primitive jungle. Here the valleys are deep and the mountains are high, and giant beasts are often seen hiding. For example, Li Kunlun is standing on the top of a mountain. As a result, the earth shook and the mountain shook, and the entire mountain rose suddenly, and a giant tortoise woke up. There are also straight and steep mountain pillars, with ancient pines and vines hanging on them, and sometimes vicious ape-like beasts are seen swinging by grasping the branches. Suddenly, this sturdy mountain pillar rose from the ground and jumped into the distance. It was an unknown strange beast. With the ability to mimic the colorful monitor lizard, Li Kunlun has not encountered any major danger yet. The invisibility ability of the mimetic colorful monitor lizard is much stronger than the mimetic ability of the chameleon. It is estimated that the Zhenjiang martial king has already left, and I can return. Li Kunlun turned around and returned, no longer going deep into the restricted area of a Euro life. He has an instinct to perceive that there is an unpredictable terrifying life form ahead, dormant there, extremely dangerous. Wow! A sharp and shrill cry echoed in the sky above the lofty mountains. Li Kunlun looked up and found a fire-crowned shizotooth pterosaur, which was several times larger than a passenger plane, hovering in the sky. Monarch-level beast. Li Kunlun's heart sank to the bottom of the valley. Immediately, what terrified Li Kunlun even more was that he saw a beautiful girl standing on the head of the fire-crowned shizotooth pterodactyl. What kind of life form can ride on the head of a monarch-level beast? Li Kunlun was horrified, and the cold hairs on his back stood up. The answer came to Li Kunlun's mind. Emperor-level beast. Whether it is Emperor Wu, or the beast of the emperor level, they are the strongest living beings standing on this planet of life. No, there seems to be something different. Li Kunlun, who was about to go dormant, found something unusual. The fire-crowned pterosaur does not seem to be carrying the mysterious girl, struggling in the air. This angry monarch-level beast opened its mouth and spit out a fierce high-temperature fire that burned in the mountains. The raging blue flame is like a river of fire falling from the sky, burning from the mountain range to the mountain range. Wherever the fire-crowned pterodactyl flew, it opened its mouth and spit out the billowing river of fire, burning all the way. The terrifying high temperature can melt gold and smelt stone, and the temperature is as high as tens of thousands of degrees Celsius. The giant trees of grass and trees turned to ashes in an instant. Those beasts that were burned by the flames were directly burned into coke. More ferocious beasts rushed towards the outer circle of the mountain range in panic and began to flee. Unfortunately, Li Kunlun was also involved in the river of fire that the fire-crowned Slitodon spewed. However, he has cell immortality, plus high-level fire resistance properties. Even if it is an ultra-high temperature flame of tens of thousands of degrees Celsius, Li Kunlun is not afraid. The fire-crowned pterosaur let out a shrill whine, and finally tilted its head, fell from the air, and hit a mountain. Boom! The top of the mountain burst, and the boulders rolled. The corpse of the huge fire-crowned pterosaur was lying on the mountain, One wing was drooping on the north side of the mountain, and the other half of the body was lying on the slope on the south side of the mountain. The corpse of a monarch-level beast. Li Kunlun's eyes flashed brightly. The corpse of a monarch-level beast greatly improves cellular evolution. Li Kunlun estimated that he would come into contact with a few more monarch-level beasts, and his life level should be able to be raised to the 6th level. 6th order life form. At that time, let alone monarch-level beasts. Li Kunlun dares to take the edge even if it is an emperor-level beast. Is that girl an emperor-level beast or a human? If it's a monarch-level beast, why did she kill the monarch-level beast? Thousands of thoughts flashed through Li Kunlun's mind. The original answer in my heart was overturned again, and a new conclusion was added. That mysterious girl may be a human. Don't worry about it. Seek wealth and wealth at risk. Take a look first. Li Kunlun did not hesitate, in a state of perfect mimicry, and flew over immediately. From a close look, the size of this fire-crowned pterosaur is really huge and extremely scary. Li Kunlun put the palm of his hand on the back of the fire-crowned pterodactyl, and closed his eyes to perceive. The heart of this monarch-level beast was still beating slightly and did not stop immediately. Fatally wounded in the head of the fire-crowned cleft pterodactyl, it was truly brain-dead. Li Kunlun found the location of the soul crystal, raised it with one hand, and 60 trillion cells generated electricity and gathered in the palm of his hand. Quote. Loud thunder like 1,000 birds screeching. Li Kunlun's palm turned red gold, and the electric ray was wrapped around it, which was extremely amazing. Sonic punch. Li Kunlun raised his palm and stabbed it down, piercing the scales of the fire-crowned pterosaur, and dug out the soul crystal. The soul crystal of a monarch-level beast. Li Kunlun felt like he had developed all of a sudden. By the way, I haven't dug out the soul crystal of the ancient Titan ape man yet, so I've lost a lot. Li Kunlun's heart throbbed and blood dripped. At least tens of billions of yen national currency slipped away from his fingertips. Well, let's use it as a fund for rebuilding the Zhongcheng base city. Li Kunlun didn't think about it too much, turned his head to look for the girl who fell with the fire-crowned splinter pterodactyl. When he turned his head, Li Kunlun's pupils contracted violently. He saw the beautiful girl whose clothes were snow-white and stained with blood, standing behind him. When did it appear? Li Kunlun didn't even notice it. Li Kunlun had tense muscles all over his body, and he was full of energy, ready to explode at any time. Quick, run away. The beautiful girl suddenly spit out words, and then fell down softly. You. Li Kunlun stepped forward and quickly supported the beautiful girl. Who are you? Are you all right? Wake up. Li Kunlun shook the beautiful girl who had passed out in a coma, but couldn't wake up. Roar. A deafening tiger roar. Immediately afterwards, there was the movement of giant feet moving the mountains and rivers. The earth shook and the mountains shook, and the birds and beasts flew. It is definitely more than a plurality of monarch-level beasts, coming out from the depths of the forbidden area of a euro life. This is bad. 2, no, 3 monarch-level beasts. Li Kunlun's heart sank to the bottom. He sensed 3 terrifying auras that surrounded him from several directions. I am a perfect mimic, and I may not be able to walk away, not to mention there is a beautiful girl now. The situation was extremely urgent, and Li Kunlun's eyebrows were about to burn. Ding! The host comes into contact with the fire-crowned Shizotooth pterosaur, the cells evolve, and they acquire the abilities various language and lighting fire. Ding! The host comes into contact with the fire-crowned pterosaur, the cell evolves, the fire resistance is upgraded, and the fire resistance is now IV5. Ding! The host comes into contact with the fire-crowned pterosaur, the cell evolves, the fire control ability is upgraded, and the fire control ability is now IV5. Fire resistance and fire control ability are both upgraded. Also gained the ability to make fire. In the future, there is no need to cast flames, and there is no need for electric sparks to ignite the process of hydrogen. According to the power of the fire-crowned pterosaur, Li Kunlun can also directly produce a high-temperature flame of tens of thousands of degrees Celsius. However, what really surprised Li Kunlun in was the ability to speak foreign languages. Able to understand different languages, and in the shortest time, master the different languages, and then communicate. Then take the risk and give it a try. Giant ape. Crack. The golden electric light, aroused from the flat ground, penetrated into the sky. Accompanied by the noisy thunder of the chirping birds, a black-haired giant ape appeared out of thin air on the mountain. Li Kunlun controlled the wind and controlled the air, wrapped the comatose beautiful girl, hid it behind her ears, and covered it with thick ape hair. At this time, the other 3 monarch-level beasts arrived. A 100-meter-long giant tiger with black and shiny fur, 4 heads and 5 tails leapt up the mountain. Monarch-level beast, Chongming black tiger. One arthropod is huge and can easily cross mountains and ridges. It has 16 spider legs and 16 scarlet spiders. The monarch-level vicious beast, the Pantian god-killing spider. The last monarch-level beast that came slowly was the ancient snapping turtle. 3 monarch-level beasts, showing a triangular shape, surrounded Li Kunlun in the middle. Li Kunlun turned into a great ape, standing on the slope of the mountain, holding the ridge with one hand, watching them nervously. The atmosphere was heavy. Li Kunlun can only compete with 1 monarch-level beast at present, and 3 monarch-level beasts will definitely not be able to beat it. If we fight, we will die without life. The Pantian god-killing spider's giant jaws opened and closed, making a hissing sound. The Chongming black tiger roared in a low voice from time to time, and the tiger's eyes flashed with humanized eyes. They seemed to be communicating something. Li Kunlun activated the ability of a Euro alien language and the language of these beasts was slowly understood by him. Hiss. The giant jaws of the Pantian god-killing spider opened and closed, and asked Li Kunlun. Li Kunlun understood, and the Pantian god-killing spider asked him where he came from and whether he had seen a human being. Li Kunlun replied that he had come to defect to the master here, and saw a human, but after killing the fire-crowned cleft pterodactyl, he ran away immediately. The Chongming black tiger immediately let out a low growl and asked Li Kunlun which direction the humans were running. Li Kunlun pointed in a random direction. Roar! The Chongming black tiger jumped out, stretched out his limbs, and ran wildly between the rolling hills at an extremely fast speed. Wherever he passed, the wind swept through, and large tracts of trees, soil and rocks were lifted into the air. The ancient land-snapping turtle turned around slowly, planning to hunt down the mysterious girl, striving hard to keep up with the black tiger Chongming. In fact, the ancient land-snapping turtle seems to move slowly, but in fact, with each step, it jumps over several hills. Although he couldn't catch up with the Chongming black tiger, he wouldn't fall too far. Li Kunlun breathed a sigh of relief after seeing the 2 terrifying monarch-level beasts go away, and the pressure was immediately reduced a lot. Facts have proved that in the territory of the emperor-level beasts, there is indeed no situation where the monarch-level beasts will fight to the death when they meet. The king did not meet the king, and only appeared on the 2 arrogant and domineering kings. The forbidden area of a Euro life is the territory of the emperor-level beasts. Here, the emperor-level beast is the only king, the monarch-level beast is not. If not, of course they won't meet and fight. Come with me and take you to see our emperor. The Pantian god-killing spider expresses its meaning. Li Kunlun glanced at the distant Chongming black tiger and ancient land-snapping turtle. He was thinking about the bottom line, killing the Pantian god-killing spider here, and then running away. Would he be caught up by the Chongming black tiger and the ancient land-snapping turtle? As for seeing the emperor-level beasts, it is absolutely impossible. Isn't that the old birthday star who eats arsenic and seeks death? Roar! Li Kunlun roared and drew his fingers, indicating that the Pantian god-killing spider was leading the way. The Pantian god-killing spider stretched 16 super-long spider legs, easily crossed mountains and rivers, and went deep into the restricted area of a Euro life. Li Kunlun took a step forward, followed behind the Pantian god-killing spider, and walked among the primitive and ancient mountains. At the same time, he was sensing the iron ore underground and mobilizing the iron sand in the soil and gravel. The surface soil loosened, and iron sand drilled out one by one, flowing silently against the ground, following behind Li Kunlun. After a while, the iron sand behind Li Kunlun was about to gather into a black river. Li Kunlun is still gathering strength. 60 trillion cells in the body generate electricity, and 1 billion volts of electricity can be burst at one time, which is similar to the lightning of nature. However, the billion-volt current that erupted in an instant could not kill even a commander-level beast. Not to mention a monarch-level beast. So, Li Kunlun is continuing to charge. Since the instantaneous burst of 1 billion volts cannot kill monarch-level beasts, what about 5 billion volts? What about billions of volts? Even hundreds of billions of volts? Li Kunlun's 60 trillion cells are constantly generating electricity and accumulating current. If you look inside Li Kunlun's body at this time, it is like a super large battery, and the electric current excited by the cells in it accumulates like a thunder pool. Electromagnetically, the huge amount of electricity accumulated in the body created a strong magnetic field around Li Kunlun. The ground began to tremble slightly. The long river of iron sand behind Li Kunlun was affected by the magnetic field and began to dance along the ripples of the magnetic field. Magnetic force can hold metals. Coupled with Li Kunlun's own cell evolution, it has acquired the ability to control metals. The superposition of the two brings Li Kunlun's control over metal to a higher level. It's about to reach its limit. Li Kunlun's eyes flickered, ready to shoot. At this moment, the Pantian god-killing spider who was walking in front suddenly stopped. Li Kunlun's red eyes narrowed slightly, and he saw the scene in front of him. The long river of iron sand behind him began to condense silently. There are 3 bare peaks ahead. Between the mountain peaks, it is connected by an incomparably huge spider web, which is full of spider beasts. And below the giant net of the mountain peaks, there are the skeletons of Bisensen, which are as numerous as mountains and shocking. This is the lair of the Pantian god-killing spider. The Pantian god-killing spider said in the language of a beast, "The emperor was seriously injured, and naturally it is impossible to see any outsiders. Besides, you have that human smell on your body. I poisoned her, so naturally I couldn't hide it from me." In an instant, the Pantian god-killing spider turned around, opened and closed its huge jaws, and spit out a huge spider web. It thought it was just a mindless calculation. How could it have thought that Li Kunlun would kill it a long time ago? 100 billion volts, Thor's gun. The huge iron spear assembled by countless iron sand flew forward and was grasped by Li Kunlun. The hundreds of billions of volts of electricity accumulated in the body were poured into the huge iron gun. For a time, the huge iron gun was flooded with electricity like a sea of a euro thunder, completely turning into a flaming dazzling golden thunder body. Go, kill the gods with this a euro. Li Kunlun clenched the huge iron gun filled with hundreds of billions of volts and threw it violently. The electromagnetic driving force, the driving force that controls the metal, and the extremely terrifying power of Li Kunlun, made the huge iron spear instantly reach a terrifying speed. With a swipe, an extremely bright blue electric light flashed by. Bang! The giant web spit out by the Pantian god-killing spider was pierced. The Pantian god-killing spider didn't have time to react, and its body was pierced. The peaks in the back are pierced. This spear of thunder flew out all the way, traversing the life-limited area, and I don't know how many mountains. I don't know how far it flew, and finally landed in the forbidden area of a euro life. Of course, these are no longer about Li Kunlun. After he killed the Pantian god-killing spider with one shot, he was about to turn his head and leave immediately. How is Zhao? Wait a minute, the big spider seemed to say that this mysterious girl was poisoned with its poison, right? Li Kunlun turned his head, grabbed the spider legs of the Pantian god-killing spider, and began to run wildly. Before he left, he snapped his fingers and controlled the river like fire, which completely burned the old nest of the Pantian godslayer. As Li Kunlun ran among the high mountains, he disassembled the spider legs of the Pantian god-killing spider, and dug out the soul crystal and a poison sac. Ding! The host comes into contact with the Pantian god-killing spider, the cells evolve, and they acquire the ability Poison Control IV4. Ding! The host came into contact with the Pantian god-killing spider, the cells evolved, and the super sensing level was raised. The current super sensing level is IV4. Ding! The host comes into contact with the poison sac of the Pantian god-killing spider, and the cells evolve to obtain antitoxic IV4 detoxification V4. Li Kunlun asked, "System, how can I detoxify other people?" The system prompt sounded. Ding! Answer the host. Any body fluid of the host has the properties of detoxification. Li Kunlun's mouth twitched. Forget it for now, saving people is the most important thing. Li Kunlun is not sure about the poisoning status of the mysterious girl, so he can only find a place to stop and save people. Boom! A silver waterfall flew down and fell into the deep pool, making a muffled thunderous sound. The humidity is heavy here, and the water mist is diffused, which can also effectively prevent the odor of human beings from emitting. The cave behind the silver falls. Lee Kunlun held the beautiful girl in his arms, waiting for her to wake up. The poison has been resolved, but her injuries are still a bit serious. Who the hell hurt her like this? Listening to the roar of the waterfall in his ear, Lee Kunlun couldn't help but think far away. The mysterious girl is really beautiful. The skin is as flawless as jade, and the facial features are so delicate that they seem to be ingenious and natural, and they look like works of art from every angle. Among the women Lee Kunlun has seen, Qian Liner and her sister Li Xiaoyu are the most beautiful. But they are still slightly inferior to the mysterious girl by 2 or 3 points. If Qian Liner is the eldest daughter, she is graceful and extravagant. Li Xiaoyu is the sister next door, pure and beautiful, lively and lovely. Then, the mysterious girl is a fairy who does not eat fireworks, and is the girlhood of Chang'e in the Moon Palace. Lee Kunlun, a straight man of steel, can't help but go crazy when he sees the mysterious girl's face. Especially the mysterious girl's cherry red and pink lips. Lee Kunlun remembered the process of detoxifying her just now. Cough, I don't know what's going on outside now. I haven't gone back yet. It is estimated that my parents and my sister will worry about me. Lee Kunlun diverted his attention, thinking of his parents and sister far away in Zhongcheng Base City. Speaking of which, the Pantian god-killing spider mentioned that the owner of this forbidden area of A Life was seriously injured and was hiding to recover. The owner of the forbidden area of A Life must be a powerful emperor-level beast. What kind of existence is it that can seriously injure an emperor-level beast? Could it be? Lee Kunlun looked at the beautiful girl in his arms in shock. Did she injure the owner of the restricted area of A Life, and was seriously injured at the same time? Lee Kunlun guessed a bit of cause and effect. This beautiful girl came to the restricted area of A Life and killed the emperor-level beast. It's a pity that the emperor-level beasts are too powerful, and there are many monarch-level beasts, so the beautiful girl can only hit the emperor-level beasts into serious injuries. At the same time, the beautiful girl was also injured, and was hit by the poison of the Pantian god-killing spider, so she could only break out of the siege and escape. Monarch-level beasts, such as the Pantian god-killing spider and the Chongming black tiger, were ordered by the emperor-level beasts to hunt down the beautiful girl. Until Lee Kunlun accidentally broke into the forbidden area of A Life, and saw the beautiful girl behead the fire-crowned pterosaur. It turns out that you are actually a female martial emperor. However, I haven't heard of the 3 major martial emperors of the Yan Kingdom, but there is a female martial emperor. The 3 great emperors of the Yan Kingdom. Known as having a steel-like will, he often wears huge armor and appears in front of everyone. Known as the strongest man in the Yan Kingdom, the Thunder Martial Emperor who also created the Thunder Martial Art Museum. There is also the most respected and oldest Taiji Martial Emperor who is one of the founders of the Martial Artist Association. Apart from the Iron and Steel Emperor, the Thunder Emperor, and the Taiji Emperor, the 4th Emperor has never been heard of. It is said that 5 of the 4 great knights are common sense, so is it common sense that 4 of the 3 great emperors are common sense? Lee Kunlun couldn't help but complain. Not to mention that the beautiful girl in her arms is one of the 3 great martial emperors, or the 4th great martial emperor. But it is certain that she has the strength of a martial emperor. A living female martial emperor, placed in front of Lee Kunlun. What else can Lee Kunlun do? Of course, while she was in a coma, he quickly hugged her and let the cells evolve automatically. Fortunately, Lee Kunlun is not who he used to be now. Today, Lee Kunlun has evolved to a 5th-order life form, and the cell strength is far different from what it used to be. Contact Woody, neither will explode and die, nor will it take too long to complete the evolution of cells. Outside the damp cave, the silver waterfall roared. Amidst the noise, there is a sense of tranquility. After a while, a system prompt sounded in Lee Kunlun's mind. Ding, the host contacts the female martial emperor, the cells evolve, and the physical fitness is tripled. Only 3 times the physical fitness. Lee Kunlun was a little disappointed. But if you think about it, it's normal. Before Lee Kunlun came into contact with the ancient Titan ape man, his physical fitness has been greatly improved. Now that he is in contact with Emperor Wu, his physical fitness has naturally improved a lot. What's more, the realm of Emperor Wu is not known for the physical body, but the martial arts of cultivation. In the body of the sleepy beautiful emperor, there is a deep and endless aura like the deep sea. Quote. With a bang, the mysterious beautiful girl woke up. She opened her eyes that were as clear and calm as autumn water, and what caught her eye was the face of a man. A surprise flashed in the eyes of the beautiful girl. Soon, she calmed down again, turned her head and looked at her surroundings. Listening to the roaring waterfall in the damp cave, the beautiful girl roughly knew where she was. You saved me. Li Kunlun nodded. The beautiful girl struggled slightly, sat up from Li Kunlun's arms, and wanted to stand on the ground. As soon as her feet landed, she had no strength in her body, her delicate body slanted, and she fell into Li Kunlun's arms again. You're seriously injured now, it's better not to move around. Li Kunlun hugged the girl. The beautiful girl felt the firmness and warmth of Li Kunlun's chest, her cheeks flushed slightly, and she no longer struggled. Are we still in the domain of earthly pythons? The girl asked. Earthly python. Li Kunlun let out a small hum. It turns out that the owner of this forbidden area of a euro life is called the earthly python. The girl replied. The earthly python was originally a monster in Western mythology before the Great Destruction, the second son of Loki, the god of destruction and disaster, and the giantess Angelboda. Because this emperor-level beast is extremely huge, we call it the earthly python. Li Kunlun showed an expression of sudden realization. The girl added, not only the earthly pythons, but other emperor-level beasts, we also often use the names of monsters in mythology. Li Kunlun asked, so you came this time to kill the earthly python? The girl nodded and said, that's right. I heard that the mortal giant python will have a period of weakness when it gives birth, so I will try to kill it. If you can really kill an emperor-level beast, the advantage it will bring to the human camp will be enormous. The girl said it was an understatement, but Li Kunlun, who was in the audience, was shocked. Is this the female emperor? Entering the forbidden area of a euro life alone, just to kill the earthly python. Unfortunately, I still failed, and I fell short, and the emperor-level beasts are not so easy to kill. The girl sighed softly. At least you were seriously injured, didn't you? However, since I know the information about the birth of the mortal giant python, why don't a few martial emperors come to join forces to kill the weak mortal giant python? Even if Emperor Wu can't escape, King Wu will do. Li Kunlun expressed his doubts. Today, if he hadn't strayed into the restricted area of a euro life, he bumped into the injured female martial emperor. Otherwise, the female martial emperor who was seriously injured and passed out in a coma would definitely be attacked by the monarch-level beasts who came after him. The fall of a martial emperor is absolutely unbearable for the Yan kingdom. The girl was silent for a moment. After a long while, her cheeks were slightly red and she said, the power of the beast is greater than that of the human camp after all. Almost all Wudi have their own guards, or have other tasks. As for King Ziwu, he can't kill a king-level beast at all, and it's hard to even intervene. Furthermore, it is useless to have one or two martial kings, and will only be besieged by other monarch-level beasts in the restricted area. At that time, the emperor-level beasts were not killed, but the human king of Zhenjiang died several times, which was a huge loss. Therefore, the female martial emperor was alone, breaking into the restricted area of a euro life, and wanted to kill the earthly python in the weak period. How is your injury, and what are your plans next? Li Kunlun asked. A euro. The girl groaned, as if she was used to being in Li Kunlun's arms. She slightly adjusted her delicate body, changed to a more comfortable posture, and checked her own injuries. Hey, the poison of the Pantian god-killing spider has been detoxified. Did you detoxify it for me? The girl raised her chin and glanced at Li Kunlun in surprise. How did Li Kunlun get rid of the poison that she couldn't get rid of? It's nothing, it will lose medical skills. Li Kunlun laughed dryly and said perfunctorily. After all, he couldn't tell the girl the truth, that he had kissed her, and then. It is estimated that the girl will be so embarrassed that she will slash Li Kunlun with a knife. I didn't expect you to be so skilled in medicine. The girl believed it to be true, and her eyes lit up immediately. Li Kunlun added, I'm just good at detoxification, curing diseases, etc. I don't know anything about it. It's good at detoxification, and it's amazing. The girl's eyes dimmed for a moment, then recovered and said with a smile, I still have a lot of injuries left, so let's heal them first. First stabilize the injury, and then we will find a way to escape from the restricted area of A life and return to the human survival base city. When we arrive at the human survival base city, we are temporarily safe. By the way, my name is Zhang Ruoxian, what's your name? Li Kunlun. Li Kunlun replied, Kunlun, I will laugh at the sky from the horizontal knife, and save the two Kunluns. Kunlun is the mountain of the gods, the ancestor of the dragon veins, a good name. The girl named Zhang Ruoxian struggled to get up again, sat down with her knees crossed, and began to exercise to heal her injuries. After a while, the damp water vapor in the cave gathered towards her, condensed into crystal water droplets, and floated around her. If there is or not, the chi machine pulls all things in the world, and it grows endlessly. Immediately afterwards, a black and white Tai Chi picture appeared from under Zhang Ruoxian, and spread out, covering the entire cave floor. Tai Chi. Li Kunlun glanced at the Tai Chi map on the ground in surprise. Really Tai Chi. Two yin and yang fish are chasing each other, and the most simple graphics expound the supreme Tao and reason. The Tai Chi map was expanded again and extended to the outside of the waterfall. In an instant, the fast-flowing waterfall stopped flowing. The grass and trees around the water pool grow wildly, and then die quickly, withering every year. Li Kunlun walked in the cave, came to the stagnant waterfall, reached out and grabbed a handful, and fished out a round water polo. Is this the realm? Li Kunlun heard that the realm of Emperor Wu involves the more advanced power of martial arts, the realm. Zhang Ruoxian's Tai Chi map is very similar to the field described in the Martial Artist Forum. As the realm unfolds, Emperor Wu is like an absolute king in his own realm. You can explode with 200% of your strength and display all your martial arts and martial arts. Because of this, no matter how many King Wu is, he is not the opponent of Emperor Wu. However, it is too difficult to carve out a field of your own. There were quite a few Zhenjiang martial kings in the Yan kingdom, but the Zhengguo martial emperor had only 3 on the bright side. With Zhang Ruoxian, there are 4. Among the 3 martial emperors, there is a Taiji martial emperor. Could it be that Zhang Ruoxian is the Taiji martial emperor? No. The Taiji martial emperor is highly respected, and is the Big Dipper of Mount Tai in the entire martial arts. How could he be a beautiful girl at such an age? Li Kunlun had seen the appearance of Taiji martial emperor on TV reports. He was an old man with immortal style, a childlike appearance, and an old robe. It could never be Zhang Ruoxian. It can only be inferred that Zhang Ruoxian has something to do with Taiji Wudi. Zhang Ruoxian used Tai Chi Han Yuan Gong to continue healing. The infuriating energy of Zhongjang and peace surged in her limbs, nourishing and repairing the terrifying wounds everywhere. Puff! Zhang Ruoxian opened his mouth and spat out a black blood that fell to the ground. The black blood corroded the rocks on the ground, making a chi-chi sound. Li Kunlun asked nervously, Are you all right? Zhang Ruoxian's pale face recovered a little bit of blood, and she waved her hand, It's okay. I just expelled the remaining blood and poison in my body. Any residual poison? Li Kunlun's expression changed. Could it be that he used less saliva? Zhang Ruoxian raised her hands and put them down, calmed her chi, slowly closed her power, and opened her eyes. The Tai Chi field she had opened was also retracted. For the time being, the injury can only be stabilized like this. If you want to fully recover, you still need to return to the base city and concentrate on retreating and practicing. Zhang Ruoxian said to Li Kunlun. Zhang Ruoxian coughed twice, but the injury has not healed, but has stabilized. Okay. Let's go back to the base city. Li Kunlun was about to help Zhang Ruoxian up when his face suddenly changed. Not good. Li Kunlun's strong arms immediately hugged Zhang Ruoxian and rushed out of the waterfall with a stride. Boom! A wind bomb comparable to the size of a football field rolled over and hit the waterfall heavily. The wind bomb exploded, and countless powerful wind blades swept away, flattening the woods in all directions. As for the waterfalls and pools, a giant ball-shaped pit the size of a football field was dug out by wind bombs. Li Kunlun hugged Zhang Ruoxian, hid on the side of the cliff, and looked ahead. A giant tiger with dark hair was in the distance, staring at Li Kunlun and Zhang Ruoxian. Monarch-level beast. Remind the black tiger. Li Kunlun put his arms around Zhang Ruoxian's small waist and asked in a deep voice, "Is there a fighting force?" Zhang Ruoxian blushed and shook her head. "That's the only way to escape. Quick, get on my back." Li Kunlun carried Zhang Ruoxian behind him. Zhang Ruoxian's slender lotus arms tightly hugged Li Kunlun's neck, her pale face flushed. It was the first time she had intimate contact with a boy when she grew up so much. "Hold tight." Li Kunlun's eyes widened, his legs kicked violently. With a loud bang, Li Kunlun, carrying Zhang Ruoxian on his back, smashed the cliff and rose into the air. After jumping into the sky, Li Kunlun controlled the gang wind, steered the air, and flew towards the direction of Zhongcheng base city. The Chongming black tiger below, how could Li Kunlun and Zhang Ruoxian escape, and immediately chased on the ground. While running, Zhongming black tiger spit out huge wind bullets from time to time, attacking Li Kunlun in the air. "Little tiger, don't be too arrogant." Li Kunlun held Zhang Ruoxian's buttocks with one hand, and gathered a super-sized Fengyu with the other, and smashed it down. Fengdan vs Fengyu. The two collided in midair, swelled in an instant, and then exploded, turning into a raging wind, sweeping in all directions. Zhang Ruoxian saw Fengyu's great power, and asked curiously, "Kunlun, what kind of martial arts did you use just now?" Li Kunlun said perfunctorily, "Oh, that's the palm of the wind." Exhaust palm. The girl Emperor Wu, who was lying on her back, had a big question mark on her head. She has a deep family background, and her martial arts collection is unparalleled in the Yan Kingdom. Up to the ultimate martial arts that surpasses S-rank martial arts, down to the ordinary F-level martial arts. Zhang Ruoxian did not say that he had learned everything, but he also had knowledge. In her impression, the palm of the wind is powerful, and it is stimulated by the majestic infuriating energy. But in fact, the exhaust palm is far less powerful than Li Kunlun's super-large wind jade. Zhang Ruoxian said admiringly, "It's amazing that you can change the cloud-dispelling palm of a C-rank martial skill to a power comparable to an S-rank martial skill. Is it already equivalent to an S-rank martial skill?" Li Kunlun laughed and found that he had made a nonsense sentence, but he was not exposed. Next, he reassured and boldly fought his own abilities. Flame Fist. Li Kunlun threw a punch, and a huge flame bomb was born out of thin air, falling down. 753. From a distance, it was like a meteor smashed into the Kangmang Mountains, blasting a huge crater, and the fire swept wildly, burning the surrounding vegetation. Chongming black tiger dodged left and right, dodging the huge flame bullet. This is the B-level martial art Flame Fist. Zhang Ruoxian stayed once again. The flaming fist she knows, attaches the fire attribute with infuriating energy, and then uses the masculine fist to explode, and can make a flaming fist. But the fire fist mark of the general fire fist is not as big as Li Kunlun's. Ben lay legs. Li Kunlun kicked down. 60 trillion cells instantly generated electricity, and the legs flashed with blazing yellow thunder, which turned into a thunderbolt and slashed down. Crack. In the clear sky, a bolt of lightning fell out of thin air and hit the Chongming black tiger. The Chongming black tiger roared in pain, and opened his mouth to spit out huge wind bullets. "Since it's the wind, I can control it." Li Kunlun's eyes narrowed, his figure stopped dodging, his hands spread out, and his arms moved in circles. 7 points go to vitality, 3 points go to luck. Between heaven and earth, the wind is surging. The white clouds fluttered, like a boat on a river, towards Li Kunlun. Winds from all directions, like rushing water currents, gathered at Li Kunlun. The wind bullets that Chongming black tiger spit out unexpectedly flew towards Li Kunlun uncontrollably. These wind bombs did not explode, but merged into one, becoming a supergiant wind jade larger than a football field. Chongming black tiger, whose hair was blown up by the electricity, looked up and found that Li Kunlun could not be seen in the sky, only an incomparably huge cyan wind jade remained. "Let me inject a soul into this supergiant wind jade." Li Kunlun snapped his fingers. Snapped. A blue high-temperature flame merged into the supergiant wind jade. In an instant, Feng Yu's disorderly rotating wind, wrapped in high-temperature flames, filled every corner of Feng Yu, turning Feng Yu into a super-large fireball. The surface is still in the shape of a wind jade, and it is green. In fact, the interior resembles a high-temperature atomic furnace, so blue that it emits a fiery white light. Each flame inside collided with the wind at high speed, heating up continuously and violently. If Lee Kunlun hadn't reached the IV-5 fire control ability, this flame like an atomic furnace would have exploded long ago. That's not enough, let me compress. Lee Kunlun clasped his hands and fingers together, and his arms and forehead burst into blue veins. Drink. With a low shout, Lee Kunlun's eyes widened. Feng Yu, the size of a football field, shrunk suddenly, becoming the size of a basketball court. This move is called the Nuclear Explosion Gale Jade. Lee Kunlun grabbed the Nuclear Explosion Feng Yu with one hand and threw it down. In an instant, a nuclear explosion the size of a basketball court fell from the sky, wrapped in an unparalleled sense of oppression, and hit the ground. Roar! A trace of humanized fear flashed in the eyes of Zhongming Black Tiger, and he turned his head and ran away. At this moment, the monarch-level beasts are extremely flustered, and how can they take care of the task of the earthly python? Of course it's life-saving. Boom boom boom. The huge Chongming Black Tiger ran wildly in the vast mountains, setting off a large dust wave and hurricane. One after another, the giant trees and plants were scraped into the air by the Chongming Black Tiger, sweeping all over the place. Its speed is very fast, like a huge train, galloping in the mountains, but it is still not as fast as the nuclear explosion. This nuclear explosion Gale Jade, which contained the power of destroying the heavens and the earth, fell to the ground. Cover your eyes. Lee Kunlun carried Zhang Ruoxian on his back, desperately flying to the altitude of 10,000 meters. Boom 1-1. In an instant, the nuclear explosion Gale Jade that hit the earth burst out with a dazzling white light, drowning everything. The cyan wind and blue flames instantly expanded from the size of a basketball court to a supergiant fireball with a diameter of 10 miles. The entire restricted area of a Euro life seems to be able to see the huge blue fireball rising from the earth. After the blue fireball expanded, it did not create a huge mushroom cloud like a nuclear explosion, but shrank instantly and disappeared. What remained was only a huge circular pit with a diameter of 10 miles. The surface of the round pit is steaming hot. Within a radius of dozens of miles, affected by the high-temperature heat wave and fire, the vegetation was completely destroyed, leaving only the scorched soil and a body that had also turned into coke. This blow can be called devastating. Zhang Ruoxian, who was lying on Lee Kunlun's back, looked dumbfounded and asked, "What is this trick?" Lee Kunlun said proudly, "This is a palm technique that falls from the sky, called Tathagata palm." Zhang Ruoxian's eyelids jumped. It turns out that the legendary ultimate martial skill, Tathagata's palm, is what it looks like when it is displayed. Zhang Ruoxian wanted to say, "I believe in you." Man's mouth, liar ghost. Lee Kunlun flew down, found the Chongming Black Tiger, which was burned into coke, and dug out the soul crystal. Counting the soul crystals of the Chongming Black Tiger, Lee Kunlun should now have 3 monarch-level soul crystals. It's not too much to call yourself a billionaire in advance. Lee Kunlun put away the soul crystal of the heavy Ming Haihu, thinking happily. Ding! The host has come into contact with the Chongming Black Tiger, the cells have evolved, and the wind control level has been improved. The current wind control level is IV-5. Ding! The host contacts the Chongming Black Tiger, the cells evolve, and the level of the king's prestige increases. Ding! The host comes into contact with the Chongming Black Tiger, the cells evolve, the sound attack level increases, and the ability Tiger Roar is acquired. Zhang Ruoxian felt uneasy, tugged at Lee Kunlun's ear, and urged, "Kunlun, let's go quickly." The explosion just now definitely attracted the attention of more monarch-level beasts, and even the worldly giant python. Okay, let's go now. Lee Kunlun carried Zhang Ruoxian on his back and immediately flew to the edge of the restricted area of a Euro life. Soon, he saw that a huge white wall appeared between the mountains and mountains. In front of this high white wall, the rolling mountains also seem much smaller. If you look closely, you will find that the surface of this white wall seems to be an incomparably huge scale, flowing with a rainbow-like luster. This is a Euro. Lee Kunlun stopped and swallowed. He turned his head from side to side, looked far and wide, and found that this white wall of scales stretched from the extreme east of the earth to the extreme west of the earth, as if it had no end. Just like a euro. It was as if the entire restricted area of a euro life was completely enclosed. This is the body of the earthly python. Zhang Ruoxian's voice sounded faintly in Li Kunlun's ears. Li Kunlun swallowed a mouthful of saliva and asked in a harsh voice, "Isn't the earthly python injured? Why did it go out in person? It probably hates me especially. What have you done that the earthly python hates to the core?" Zhang Ruoxian paused for a moment, then replied weakly, "I killed the son of the giant python in the world." Li Kunlun. P.S. Thanks for reminding the book friends, the fire control ability was upgraded to IV4 before. After coming into contact with the fire crown pterosaur, it should be upgraded to IV5 and make corrections. Then the protagonist has too many abilities. When I contacted Maoyu in the official exam before, I got a huge increase. If it wasn't mentioned by readers in the book review area, I almost forgot and cried with laughter. Emotional Zhang Ruoxian did not kill the earthly python, but killed the earthly python's child. No wonder the monarch-level beasts in the entire restricted area of a euro life were mobilized to chase and block Zhang Ruoxian. Even in the end, the injured earthly python personally dispatched to enclose the restricted area of a euro life and prevent Zhang Ruoxian from escaping. It's no wonder that the powerful Zhenjiang martial king didn't come in after him. It turns out that this is the worldly python. Li Kunlun's thoughts moved, and he couldn't help but have a headache. He originally thought that the earthly giant python could be so big. How many kilometers long? Is it already the limit? After all, the size of most monarch-level beasts is only a few hundred meters. As a result, who could have predicted that the worldly giant python was so big that it could enclose the restricted area of a euro life? Just that huge body is taller than ordinary mountains, towering into the sky, and it is extremely spectacular. Li Kunlun wonders how to kill such a terrifying beast. What should we do now? Zhang Ruoxian asked in a low voice. Why don't we wait for my injury to heal before we go out? Li Kunlun shook his head flatly and replied, "No. Now it seems that the earthly python's injury is less than yours, and it must be better than you. Moreover, the earthly giant python whose vitality is severely damaged after giving birth can seriously injure you. If the injury heals and the vitality is restored, I am afraid that I am still not a match for the earthly python." Li Kunlun has not yet been promoted to the 6th order life form, and is probably not the opponent of the earthly python. His current strength should belong to the Zhenjiang martial king level. Then what? The young girl Emperor Wu seemed to have lost her attention and asked Li Kunlun. Her injuries are too serious, and the Tai Chi field can't be expanded much. Not even an ordinary monarch-level beast, let alone a monarch-level beast the earthly python. What else can I do? A sharp look flashed in Li Kunlun's eyes. Of course it's a hard break. Li Kunlun's body was swirling with strong wind, and he supported him and flew towards the sky at a height of 10,000 meters. Li Kunlun intends to break through the defenses of the earthly python from high altitude. The wind whistled, the clouds rolled back, and Li Kunlun reached the IV5 level wind control ability, which made him faster. Surrounded by the blue wind, Li Kunlun is surrounded. The ability to control the air also allows Li Kunlun to fly at high speed without any resistance. Pong! Li Kunlun flew through the long sea of a euro clouds and flew to the stratosphere at a height of 10,000 meters. Looking down, it is a boundless sea of a euro snow-white clouds, thick and surging, boundless. Looking up, the sky is cloudless for thousands of miles, and the color changes from light blue to dark blue, gradually becoming darker. The earth became smaller, the sky became clear, and even the air became extremely thin. Of course, this was nothing to Li Kunlun, who was the strongest creature on the surface, and Zhang Ruoxian, who was in the realm of Emperor Wu. Here, the earthly python should have nothing to do. After Li Kunlun rose to an altitude of 10,000 meters, he discerned the direction and flew towards the Zhongcheng base city. When he was about to escape from the forbidden area of a euro life, a suction force that swallowed the sky and devoured the earth suddenly came from below. Thousands of miles of clouds suddenly turned into a huge funnel, pouring down. There seemed to be a black hole with a huge devouring power on the ground, forcibly pulling the sea of a euro clouds in the sky down. Of course, this devouring force also captured Li Kunlun at a height of 10,000 meters. This is. Li Kunlun's face changed, and his high-speed flying body fell down uncontrollably. It is the devouring power of the earthly python, it has found us. Zhang Ruoxian's beautiful face suddenly became extremely ugly. She wants to run the Tai Chi Hun Yuan Gong, open up the Tai Chi field, and offset this devouring power with the power of the Great Tao. However, Zhang Ruoxian coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood, and it was difficult for him to exercise. It's not bad to keep the injury from getting worse, let alone fight against the Emperor-level beasts. Is this the Emperor-level beast? Li Kunlun's heart was awe-inspiring. King over all creatures on this planet. Just on the ground, open your mouth and suck at the sky, as if even the stars in the dome and the sea of A clouds are swallowed up. Li Kunlun is like a fish falling down a waterfall, struggling to get away. Surrounded by turbulent clouds, he was wrapped around him, like a waterfall in the sky, flying down 3,000 feet, falling into the bloody mouth of the worldly giant python. You like to devour, right? In that case, I'll give you a jelly bean to taste. Li Kunlun grabbed it with one hand, wanting to gather the nuclear explosion Daifengyu and throw it down. As a result, the wind jade has not yet formed, and it collapsed directly, turning into a stream of air, and the sea of A clouds fell into the mouth of the earthly python. Li Kunlun snapped his fingers, and a river of fire appeared in the sky, but he was still sucked away by the giant python. At an altitude of 10,000 meters, it fell extremely fast. Li Kunlun carried Zhang Ruoxian on his back, and had already seen an unimaginably huge white-scaled python on the vast land, raising its snake head, opening its bloody mouth, and swallowing everything in the world. This piece of blood is so big that Li Kunlun doubts that he can fill in Yunmeng days. I'm sorry, I hurt you. Zhang Ruoxian said guiltily. It's nothing, it's not that the mountains and rivers are exhausted, I have other moves. Li Kunlun smiled lightly and comforted her gently. But next, you may need to fall asleep. Suddenly, Li Kunlun slashed Zhang Ruoxian's fair and slender neck with a backhand, knocking Zhang Ruoxian unconscious. Logically speaking, Zhang Ruoxian, who is in the realm of the female martial emperor, cannot be like a weak woman who faints when knocked. It's just that Zhang Ruoxian is now seriously injured and has no defense against Li Kunlun. In addition, Li Kunlun's body is stronger than her, so he can knock her out with a single blow. After Zhang Ruoxian passed out, Li Kunlun showed a serious expression on his face. In that case, let's try this move. Li Kunlun opened his eyes angrily, and activated his giant ape transformation. Crack! High in the sky, thunder exploded, golden lightning flashed, and a majestic giant ape immediately appeared. After the gigantic ape, Li Kunlun then performed the gigantic transformation. This gigantic ability came from hunting cats in the ferocious beast town during the official martial artist exam. Suddenly, Li Kunlun, who turned into a giant ape, once again increased tenfold in size, turning into a kilometer-tall giant ape. Roar! Li Kunlun roared violently in the sky, making an earth-shattering roar. The terrifying sound waves shook thousands of miles of mountains and rivers, like waves of tangible waves, like ripples in space, spreading continuously. Above China, Li Kunlun's roar could be heard. Hundreds of miles away, the closest human survival base city to the earthly python. Many slightly brittle glass burst directly and fell to the ground. Cars in the parking lot automatically alerted and made a diddy sound. Everyone who lives here raised their heads with palpitations and looked at the sky, with panic in their eyes. Juncheng Wuzun, who was guarding this place, stood up, his face dignified and uneasy. This roar, could it be an emperor-level beast? This Juncheng Wuzun guessed in shock. In the end, without hesitation, he called Lei Hong, the Thunder Emperor of base city number 1. At the same time, Li Kunlun, who had transformed into a kilometer-level giant ape, stared furiously, like two bloody suns. The incomparably huge body fell directly from the sky. Li Kunlun raised his huge fist, wrapping the world-destroying force that exploded the mountains and the sea, and smashed the earthly python below with one punch. Whirring a euro. Around Li Kunlun's huge body, the airflow surged, like a giant meteorite falling from the sky and hitting the earth. The power of this punch is really terrifying. The gravity of the planet and the devouring power of the earthly python formed a terrifying kinetic energy. Coupled with Li Kunlun's own monstrous strength, no one can believe how much power this fist contains. Finally, the giant fist that destroyed the world collided heavily with the upper jaw of the giant python. Boom! A loud bang like a world-breaking sound. The earth sank with a slam, and the giant snake head of the worldly python slammed into the rock layer, stirring up dust waves several hundred meters high. The terrifying impact force formed a shock wave that surpassed the nuclear bomb, swept the four directions, and slammed the nearby mountains into pieces. Immediately afterwards, the tens of millions of tons of soil that hit the center pushed out turbulently in all directions. The entire vast land, like a blanket, was shaken with force, setting off a huge wave towards the 8 desolations and Liuhe. The solid rock layer cracked, and the massive earth and stone rolled, and the mountains were piled up in layers. This blow directly caused a 12-magnitude earthquake in the forbidden area of A life. Even the human survival base city hundreds of miles away can feel the obvious tremor. Earthquake. What's up? Reminiscent of the roar just now, I'm afraid it's not as simple as an earthquake. It's terrible. What happened? The ordinary people in the base city are panicking. A war that was hundreds of miles away actually spread to this place. It was so terrifying that it made people realize once again the strength of the Emperor-level beasts and Emperor Wu. To be precise, the Emperor-level beast might be more terrifying than Emperor Wu due to its huge size. Could it be a precursor to the beast tide? I heard that a few days ago, in the base city of Zhongcheng, a huge beast tide broke out, and a new monarch-level beast was discovered. Recently, the Ferocious Beast Research Institute indicated that before the beast tide occurs, there will be some signs, such as the sound of the earth. Some warriors are also discussing. Soon, Zhongcheng Wu Zun issued an order and sounded the alarm. Although no trace of the beast tide has been found for the time being, the battle that was hundreds of miles away also made Zhongcheng Wu Zun jump in fear. Rather than waiting for the beast tide or other aberrations to occur, it is better to let the citizens hide in underground shelters in advance to minimize casualties. If the beast tide in the Zhongcheng base city had not happened suddenly, it is estimated that the casualties would have been much smaller. Li Kunlun punched the snake head of the earthly python into the lithosphere. Without the slightest hesitation, chase after the victory. Li Kunlun's double fists were comparable to meteorites, falling like a violent storm, and all of them hit the snake head of the earthly python with one punch. Bang 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 bang. The earth was beaten like boiling water. The sturdy crust was shattered, and huge cracks stretched out. The crust is generally 30 to 40 kilometers thick, but Li Kunlun's terrifying brute force seems to be about to pierce the crust. After the hard granite is crushed, there is basalt in the lower layer. Even some hot magma, the cracks extending from the Earth's crust, spewed out and flowed in the huge pits on the surface. The huge pit with a radius of 100 miles and a depth of 1,000 meters is completely devastated, with only orange, red and yellow magma flowing, like a purgatory on Earth. Brush. The earthly python deserves to be an emperor-level beast. Even though Li Kunlun was attacked so violently, he still didn't die. On the contrary, the snake's head was suddenly lifted, and the giant ape with a huge body and a height of 1,000 meters was pushed into the sky. The next moment, an afterimage flashed in the extreme distance, like an attack that split the sky, and it came over with overwhelming force. That's the tail of an earthly boa constrictor. The speed was too fast, surpassing several times Mach, blasting the air and hitting Li Kunlun violently. Bama Euro. The huge body like a giant ape flew upside down in the sky, slammed into the ground, smashed through a dozen stretches of mountains, and plowed out ravines that were dozens of miles long. As for the beasts living in the restricted area of A Euro life, they didn't even have time to hide, and they were directly smashed into blood mist and crushed into flesh. It is no wonder that in the battle of the monarch-level beasts, neither the monarch-level beast nor the martial king can even intervene. How do you intervene? The slightest touch can be shattered. The remaining monarch-level beasts in the restricted area of A Euro life hide far away and dare not approach the earthly python and Li Kunlun at all. How come the scales of the earthly python are so hard? They haven't been smashed to pieces. I'm afraid the nuclear bomb won't be able to explode. Li Kunlun grinned and got up from the ground, shaking the broken stones in his hair. These stones, to Li Kunlun, may be just stones, but compared to other creatures, they are simply boulders falling from the sky. The so-called gods fight, mortals suffer, I am afraid that is the case. Quote. The earthly python swallowed the scarlet snake letter, ready to rush over quickly. I didn't want to fight you. Li Kunlun took a step, crossed the mountains and rivers, and ran towards the earthly python. The earthly python opened its bloody mouth, like a bottomless black hole, and the power of terrifying devouring came out again. The trillions of earth and rocks on the ground, countless plants and trees, and all kinds of fierce beasts were all swept up by a gust of wind and fell into the mouth of the earthly giant python. Again, Li Kunlun's scalp was numb, and he didn't need to run. He was directly bound by the power of devouring, and he was about to fall into the mouth of Sheku as he rolled. At the critical moment, 6 trillion cells in Li Kunlun's body generate electricity, and the electric current of 1 billion volts, 10 billion volts, and 100 billion volts rapidly rotates in Li Kunlun's body. Using electromagnetism, Li Kunlun placed a strong magnetic field directly around his body to counteract the devouring power of the earthly python. As one of the 4 fundamental forces of the universe, magnetism really played a role, successfully offsetting the devouring power of the earthly python. Of course, the devouring power of the earthly python is not only pure ability, but also extremely pure suction. It's as simple as breathing in. Such a simple process has become extremely terrifying when it happens to a supergiant beast of the size of a giant python, Jiao Jiao's. Without the shackles of swallowing power, Li Kunlun is much easier to deal with suction alone. He slammed down the ground with both hands, controlled the double explosion of metal and magnetic field, manipulated the entire iron ore underground, turned it into a huge iron pillar, broke through the formation, and blocked it from the jaws of the giant python's head. A loud, bang, sound. The lower jaw of the earthly python slammed into the upper jaw fiercely, causing the big mouth of the blood basin to slam shut. God's binding. Earth's iron hoop. Li Kunlun clasped his hands together abruptly as he shouted loudly. Suddenly, the earth shook, the rock layer cracked, and countless iron sand, iron ore and other metals emerged from the ground like a fountain. These iron ore, iron sand, and other metals condensed into huge iron hoops, which emerged from the left and the right, and slammed together, hooping the snake body of the earthly python. Looking from a distance, with a few sounds of dong, 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 5 incomparably huge iron hoops rose from the ground and suddenly locked the earthly giant python. Li Kunlun knew that only the iron hoops of the 5 earths would not be able to lock the earthly python for long. However, Li Kunlun exhausted the nearby iron ore, iron sand and other metals, and could only create 5 large iron hoops in a short period of time, trapping the earthly python. No way. Who called the earthly python too big? It must be hit hard again in order to safely escape the restricted area. Li Kunlun put his hands together and patted the ground. The wrath of the earth. Gurren roars. The ground trembled violently, and one after another leading to hell-like shards cracked, almost like the Great Rift Valley in East Africa. From the depths of the crack, a crimson light flickered, and then boom 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 boom. One after another, hot and high-temperature magma columns spewed out from the ground and turned into huge fire columns, roasting the earthly giant python. This is the Emperor level, or quasi-imperial level fight. Even from a high-altitude view, the columns of fire formed by the accumulation of magma surged out from the ground and drowned the earthly python. This scene was still shocking. Such a spectacular move was only displayed by Li Kunlun using the IV5 level fire control ability to detonate the underground lava veins. Of course, the temperature of the magma is not high, at most 1000 degrees Celsius. But Li Kunlun can use his other abilities to raise the temperature of the magma to thousands of degrees Celsius, or even tens of thousands of degrees. It has to be said that Li Kunlun has a rich imagination and an unparalleled fighting talent. Although his cells can evolve by themselves, it is Li Kunlun himself who really uses this power to develop powerful moves. The snake body of the earthly python twisted and struggled on the vast land. The magma column is still surging, drowning the earthly python. The iron hoop of the earth also firmly locks the earthly python. The magma column and the iron hoop of the earth are separated, otherwise the high-temperature flame of the magma will melt those metals. The snake body of the earthly python is long enough, and it also leaves enough space for Li Kunlun to perform these moves. Crack, boom. The earthly python roared, struggling to break free from the big subway hoop. There is already a huge U-shaped iron hoop, and there are shocking cracks that will break at any time. No, this world-shattering big snake is really terrifying. Li Kunlun didn't dare to waste time, and immediately put away the giant and giant ape, and hugged Zhang Ruoxian, who was previously protected by imperial energy. Zhang Ruoxian was still in a coma. He didn't care about anything else and went directly into the Three Emperors mode. The flames are squirting, lightning strikes, surrounded by wind. Li Kunlun's state at this moment is like the transformation of an alien in an anime in the peaceful era, dazzling and powerful. Call out. The speed of Li Kunlun in the Three Emperors mode surged in vain, bursting to 4 times Mach, directly turning into a brilliant blue-golden rainbow, submerging into the sky and flying to the extreme distance. Fortunately, the combat uniform on Zhang Ruoxian's body is of extremely high quality. In addition, Zhang Ruoxian is in the realm of Emperor Wu, and his body is strong. Previously, Li Kunlun worried that he would damage Zhang Ruoxian when he broke out of the Three Emperors mode. It now appears that this worry is superfluous. After more than 10 breaths, Li Kunlun flew dozens of miles away, and a terrifying fluctuation finally came from the forbidden area behind. Oops, the earthly python broke free from the shackles I arranged so quickly. I don't know what the speed of the earthly python is, whether it will catch up with me who has turned on the Three Emperors mode. Li Kunlun's heart sank again. He fully realized the horror of the Emperor-level beasts. Unparalleled defense. Attack peerless. Nuclear bombs can't kill you, so it's not easy to hit. In the battle just now, Li Kunlun broke his wrist a few times with the wounded earthly python. In the heyday of the earthly python, Li Kunlun could not be an opponent at all. I don't know how Zhang Ruoxian, who looks weak, wounded the earthly python. When Li Kunlun was in crisis, he was once again curious about how the beautiful girl in his arms wounded the earthly python. Instead of killing the earthly python after giving birth, she killed the little earthly python. The earthly giant python was furious and wanted to fight Zhang Ruoxian desperately. I can't fly to the Zhongcheng base city, it will lead to the world's giant python. You can't fly to other human survival base cities. The terrifying Emperor-level beasts will definitely crush them when they encounter human survival base cities. When the time comes, the loss of life will be unbearable. Li Kunlun thought about it and decided to fly to the number 1 survival base city. No, 1 survival base city, before the Great Destruction, was the capital of the Yan Kingdom and the center of political science and technology. Now, even after the Great Destruction, number 1 survival base city is still the largest base city in the Yan Kingdom. Most populous, biggest, the most powerful. At the same time, there is Emperor Wu of Zhengguo sitting there. Li Kunlun didn't know exactly where the number 1 survival base city was. Anyway, just follow your intuition and fly north. The rest can only be left to luck. If he sees other human survival base cities along the way, Li Kunlun will change his path in advance and avoid the survival base cities far away. In order to avoid the earthly pythons chasing and killing from the restricted area of A life, these survival base cities will be implicated. Above the earth, Li Kunlun fled thousands of miles. The earthly python, whose eyes were dyed red by the blood and hatred, finally rushed out of the forbidden area of A life, and chased with Li Kunlun in the desolate and vast no man's land. Despite the enormous size of the earthly python, its speed is not much slower than that of Li Kunlun. Li Kunlun in the Three Emperors mode, bursting at 4 times the speed of sound, has not been able to shake off the earthly python. It is conceivable that the earthly giant python that winds its way on the ground at 4 times the speed of sound is crushed wherever it passes. Basically, whether it is an abandoned city or a land of mountains and rivers, there is only one ending to encountering a worldly python that is advancing at a high speed. That is, burst open, smash. At this time, the earthly python could not catch up for a long time, and once again opened its bloody mouth. The power of devouring broke out and captured Li Kunlun. Li Kunlun froze and was caught by the terrifying phagocytosis. Again, Li Kunlun's face sank, crackling. The 6 trillion cells in Li Kunlun's body instantly generate electricity. A billion volts of current flows around the limbs, creating a strong magnetic field that counteracts the gravitational pull. Even so, Li Kunlun slowed down. The distance between him and the earthly python was narrowed a little bit. The emperor-level beasts are too difficult to deal with. Li Kunlun's forehead throbbed violently, his mind turned quickly, looking for a way to break the game. Crack! Right now, at the end of the land and sky in the north, a lightning bolt that was going to the extreme, like a scar of the sky piercing the sky, rushed towards it at high speed. Beast, you have crossed the line. A mighty and domineering roar, like 1,000 thunders galloping, exploded in Li Kunlun's ear. So strong. Li Kunlun's face was shocked and his heart was shaking. He saw the true face of that blazing white lightning. In the white lightning, there was a middle-aged man with a Chinese character face, surrounded by thunder, dazzling and dazzling, killing him brazenly.